Yes, yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade for or during the midday. I always get caught there.
Yeah, you said up there.
That is your boy Joey Dang Options, and I'm Sharif. And I don't have the window open, Joseph. So you're gonna have to do the roll.
Oh yeah, hey man,
I'm so prepared.
The pleasure is mine, my friend. What's going on, Kahlua? We'll let some people start to weasel in here while my boy to the right of me gets everything he needs together because he was busy, man. The schedule is jam packed. So there you go. It totally justifiable. All right, guys, let's see who we got in here. Billy Bezos, what's going on? Cairo, Vapa, Caesar, Sandoval, what's going on? Sam L, Paul Goodston. Hey, what's going on? Day Trader Cut, good seeing you in here.
Yeah.
Crypto FOMO, a regular like that. Dave B, the Hobo Trader. Okay, I see you. Kahlua, good seeing you in the chat as always. Day Trader Cut, I already called your name out. Duck, what's going on? Tim Snyder, let's go is right. Nephew with a capital P. DJ Marshall, Lazy Rocks. Ronaldo, what's going on? Mr. Out the Box, what up, fellas? Digital Gravity, I like that one. Am I on here or what? Okay, all right, we're live. We're just getting Fabian to work on some stuff. Here we go. Hans Fair, what's going on? RK, AK, my new favorite guys. Ooh, okay, I like that, AK. I remember your comment from yesterday, so much appreciated there, guys. And then let's see what else we got in here. ADL, our guy across the pond. What's going on? Phelps Boyd, Dexter, the Corleone family, as Sharif said. We got to shout them out, as Sharif would say, because we don't want any issues on that front. Mr. Love Shack,
the Katina man, he gave you immunity, brother. Yeah, see, he's Italian.
The Corleone family. Yeah. Okay, so the Katina family said it's okay. We don't need to worry about the Corleone family because he's got us covered. So that's good to hear.
All right, man. It has been a morning, Morgan, on these markets. Lots moving, whether it's the large caps to the high side or these small cap gappers. We got BL, BX up a light, not that high. 138%. We're going to be talking about these small cap gappers in a minute. We've also got a great lesson. We're going to revisit Elliott wave theory. It's been a hot minute since we talked about that. I think it was like early summer. Yeah, it was like sometime in July. So we're going to get back into that. Get it, Adara. So man's getting pumped up over there. He's pumped up. I'm sure you guys can hear him vis-a-vis my mic. But Joseph, I need like 1 or 2 more seconds to set up the lesson. So I wanted to say hello to everybody, and then we'll weasel into the lesson very shortly.
You got to make sure you say hello, guys. So before we get into this lesson, you know what we're gonna do? Adara goes through it multiple times throughout the day. But let's see what we got from some of the top performing sectors. And leading the way is the tech sector, up about 1.9%, so just under 2% on the session, guys. Then the comms being led by Netflix, it seems to be here. Monster report. We're going to talk a lot about Netflix today because we could probably talk all day this whole session about Netflix. So yeah, we had it when we were doing the Jimmy Carter Day. We were talking about it, a great debate on that one. So that is the second place one, and then consumer discretionary in third place, negative 0.01%, so just down about 0.1% there, guys. And then let's see what we got going. In third last, we have the energy sector down about 0.8, and then we have the utilities down about 1.3%, and real estate down about 1.4%. So seems to be a risk-on type of day.
It does. It feels really good right now. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. But first, we're going to talk about the 5 waves of Elliott wave theory. Have you kind of ever felt the market moves in a predictable yet dynamic way? Don't answer that. Elliott wave theory proposes that these movements follow a specific pattern. We call them the 5 waves. Now, this is by no means a comprehensive review or summary or lesson of Elliott wave theory. We're going to have a multi-part lesson, obviously, on Elliott waves, touching upon different aspects of it every time. But just to suffice it to say, these lessons are kind of basic, okay? So if you really want to get nuanced with it, you're going to have to buy yourself a book on Elliott wave theory or, do some deeper diving online. We'll give you the basis for that research, though, with these lessons. So let's get right to it. The trends engine, the book says, these are known as waves 1, 3, and 5 in Elliott wave theory. Okay, the first 3 waves, as I mentioned, 1, 3, 1, 3, and 5, are called the impulse waves. These are the driving force behind the trend, pushing the prices in the desired direction. Let's talk about wave 1. Wave 1, that's that initial move, that big boy initial move. It establishes the trend's direction. It can be volatile, more volatile than waves 3 and 5, setting the stage for the bigger moves. Wave 3, the strongest, the biggest, the baddest of all the waves, okay? Often the most significant for trading opportunities due to its length and power. And then wave 5, the final thrust, so to speak, extending the trend before a period of consolidation. So these are the bullish waves or the bearish waves. They're the trend-going waves, okay? Waves 2 and 4, which we'll talk about momentarily, these are the consolidative or the corrective waves. So let's have a look is essentially how it looks like in an infographic. You have a wave 1, a corrective wave 2, and the trough of wave 2 should not drop down to the level where the initiation of wave 1 took place. And then wave 3, you'll be able to make the comparison here to wave 2 and 1, the biggest, the baddest of the waves. And then wave 4, again, a corrective or consolidative wave. Then we have a big boy wave 5 ending the trend before we pull back a little bit. And this is kind of what it looks like IRL. This is obviously extracted from TradingView, as you'll be able to recognize by said candles. The impulse waves, again, waves 1, 3, and 5. And what this picture shows is there are many subwaves. We're not going to get into those during the lessons, but there is many subwaves within the larger waves, okay? And, you know, you can kind of almost break it down to even smaller than that. And I'll explain what I mean in a second. It kind of feels a little bit choppy at the moment, but you'll know what I mean in a sec once we get through this whole thing. So the consolidative and the corrective waves, those are waves 2 and 4. Waves 2 and 4, as I mentioned, are the corrective waves. These are periods of price retracement that move against the trend. They provide breathing room before the trend resumes on its merry way. Wave 2 is a pullback, obviously, after a wave 1, typically not retracing all of wave 1's move. So what you should be looking for there is a higher low, based upon the area low that you earmarked as the initiation of wave 1. Wave 4 is a smaller retracement after a powerful wave 3. Again, wave 3, the strongest of the 5 waves. Wave 4 usually ends near the starting point of wave 3. Not a hard and fast rule, but one to keep in mind. So again, wave 4 typically ends near the starting of wave 3. Remember, this is a simplified view, guys. Waves can vary in size and time, and there are additional rules and complexities within Elliott wave theory that we're not going to touch on here. And here we go. We get the big move up. There's your initial initiation, wave 1. There you get wave 3, the biggest of the waves, a corrective wave 4, and then you go wave 5. And then this is the pullback here, the more extended pullback, which we term A, B, and C waves, before we continue on our merry way and restart the Elliott waves anew, starting with wave 1. And this is typically seen in prolonged bull markets. Hey, just look into 2023, 4, and then we'll see if 5 ends up being a bull market, Joseph. So we'll have to wait. But you've had 2 years of bull market. All right, so let's get started. Now that you know the basic structure, here's how to practice. Number 1, find yourself a chart, okay? Look at the historical price movements of an asset. 2, identify the trend. Is it bullish? Is it up? Are we putting in higher highs and higher lows, or is it down? Are we putting in lower highs and lower lows? And then 3, look for the 5 waves. Practice. A lot easier said than done, being able to identify Elliott waves IRL. A lot easier to see in a textbook, and when I can extract it for you off TradingView, a lot different doing it in real life and doing it for swings or intraday or whatever you are doing it for. And so we're going to conclude the lesson here. Obviously, we've got 4 more of Elliott waves in the coming days, but just a little bit of a bonus tip. The 5-wave pattern applies to different time frames, okay? From daily charts to intraday ones. However, shorter time frames can be more volatile, making wave identification more challenging. And like I always say with technical analysis, most of it, if not all of it, is fractal. However, the lower down on the time frame you go, I mean like going down from the daily to the 10-minute, the 5-minute, the higher the failure rate for TA is. Just keep that in mind when using these. I hope everybody prints up several. Aww. storms. Thank you, Adara. But I didn't have my stream deck loaded, Joseph, so it was a little bit anticlimactic.
I got you.
But the boy comes in for the assist there. I appreciate you,
always
Joseph.
assist. Andrew Brown, come on, my guy.
What happened?
No, come on, just come on. You know, he knows what's up. So
Do we need to block somebody?
No. But just come on. But we're gonna send it off to Adara real quick, and then we're gonna talk some Netflix.
In light of earnings season now officially being in swing, we actually do have a new graphic you can check out here in TTV Research, looking at how each of the S&P 500 sectors fared during the Q3 2024 earnings season. So basically, this visualizes here the percentage of companies in each sector that beat EPS estimates in Q3 2024. This data coming from S&P 500 Global Research itself, so right from the source. 87% of the tickers here in the XLK actually beat estimates. So great look there for XLK during the last earnings season. However, only 48%, so less than half of the XLB or home building names actually, or materials names, sorry, actually were able to beat estimates. So watch out for this materials sector. Pretty weak Q3 2024. Of course, it's always a little bit hard when you look at things sector by sector because seasonality can always play a role. But regardless, keep an eye on all of these sectors here. Worth noting, I guess, performance in the last quarter, and make sure to check out this graph and all our other graphics on TTV Research and X, guys. Back to you.
Thank
you very much, Adara. Yeah, Joseph, what are you looking at over there, brother?
Let's get the ball rolling here, my guys. So yeah, we hopped in some NVDA here. We all kind of have a general idea. If you don't, there's going to be about 500 billion going into AI infrastructure. NVDA is going to be one of the primary beneficiaries of this. So looking for that continuation in strength. As of right now, we're not getting it. The market is starting to pull back, but I think at some point we are going to continue higher and higher. All right, so that's one thing why I'm keeping my eye on NVDA. We also have about 81 million shares traded as of 6:30 this morning, so that that relative volume is in play. So that is something that I want to keep my eye on. Now, you may ask, why aren't you trading Netflix, Joseph? Well, because it's $1,000 stock. I know it's just numbers, but the spread can get a little hefty, and you have to minimize your share size. But one thing that I really, really like about this NVDA play is that there are multiple sympathy plays around it. I mean, NVDA is technically one of them because we know Oracle and Masayoshi and Sam Altman are all, get it, Sam, are all going to be beneficiaries of this. So here we are. NVDA has to supply the chips. Let's see if we can continue in strength in this underlying asset. I really like this. I was thinking of an all-time high break today, but that's about 5 or 6% from now. So we would need to put in a hefty day here, Sharif, about an 8% session to go and push those all-time highs. Sean mentioned this not too long ago as well during the early morning session. He thinks that it's only a couple of days away. I think so as well, too, by the end of the week, by next week, especially when that earnings report comes out. We know what happened last week. Our last report dumps, but I think it's going to be the polar opposite on this report. So looking forward to that. Going to continue to try and take some stabs here on NVDA. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We stuck to the thesis. We had a game plan, and we have a high-level catalyst here. So looking forward to trading some NVDA, and especially just keeping our eye on Netflix and then watching the overall market, and most importantly, talking about Netflix, because I think there's a lot of key things we can bring up as well, too.
All right, Joseph, we weaseled in over here into BLBX. Very, very simple reason, Joseph. It's the strongest one on the day, and now it's worked its way down into the volume-weighted average price. Also, another area of technical support, this 3 2/3 to 3.5 VWAP being, I believe, right at 350. We had this kind of doji candle over here, a candle of indecision. I'm giving it to below the $0.50. I'm going to have to pack my patience on this one. BLBX in retracement mode, looking for it to bounce, though, off the volume-weighted average price. Going to have to risk around 20 pennies. But as I was telling Tisha Perkins in the chat, I don't see news or catalyst either, Tisha. But look at this. I mean, how can you argue with this chart, Tisha? Higher highs, higher lows, so strong is Santa that it can't breach the 10 exponential on the 5-minute chart. wick or close or otherwise. It only wicked through it over here, and then it was quickly bought up. It's at the $0.50 right now. It's up 19.2%, 19.5% now. We're going to keep an eye out on this one. Definitely looking at weaseling my way into this one, Tisha. I don't know how you feel about this one, but as I told you as well, STAI, look at this one. Take out the high of the day. Big boy move off that 175, and this is kind of what you were looking for here. This higher low into VWAP. Look at it squeeze. 227 now HOD. It's up 53% and change. As we zoom out, though, we know we were likely to encounter resistance at $2 given the consolidation that we had at 2 for a hot minute, and we did actually reject near 2. Look at that 9:40 a.m. pop into about $1.97, and then we rejected. And look at us take out those levels now, 2 1/3 off that 2 1/4 pop. So this one, STAI, really going over here. Let me give you the details on this one. It's $44.33 million market cap with 2 1/3 million shares traded on the day, about 2.5 million share float. Oh, I just noticed that I didn't even log into to Unity. Ram is probably talking smack. I couldn't hear it.
Yeah,
and then let me just find out what the short float is on STAI. STAI. The short float is none. Well, Trade Ideas doesn't have it, so we don't have anything for it right now. Topping tail ugly into 233 over here. Let's pack our patience and see what we can get there. But as I see it, it looks like BLBX is on the way up, and we have already taken 3 outs. I'm still waiting at 92s for another out over here on BLBX. It's up 125%, maybe more, by the time we defend VWAP, possibly move back into 496. That is the high of the day. 496, essentially a $5 HOD. Back into 85s we go, Joseph. I should probably layer some more orders ahead of that $4 area, knowing, full well that the whole dollar area does act as support and resistance sometimes. So it behooves you to be prudent and to extract some profits ahead of that whole dollar, especially if you're going to trade these small cap gappers. I mean, again, I always say this, I'm going to say it again, they hang out at the level for not that long, and they're around for a good time. Not really, though, a long time. Joseph.
Yeah, so I'm just talking to Jordan in the chat, and he mentioned, I want to talk about it as well, too. He's like, yeah, I like how Joe is like, I'm not trading NVDA again, and then he ends up trading it, and you're not wrong. But today, like you just mentioned, Jordan, there's an exception. Ooh. But I want to point this out on the daily here. Let's take a look here, sorry, like that. So he has a valid point. And I want to point out like where I wasn't trading it well, and it was within this range here. So at some point I'm like, okay, this underlying is not trading how I want it to be. I'm not in sync with the stock, so I had to stop. All right, I'm losing more on it than I am winning. So it's just at some point you're like, okay, stop trying to milk this stone that isn't necessarily working for you. Go back to the basics, get back to the original idea and to things that are working. And within this range, Jordan, it wasn't working for me, and you're not wrong. I was like fed up. I'm like, okay, this thing is supposed to be the king of all kings, and it's just chewing me up left, right, and center day after day. So I did have to take a break from it, and then you are right. Today is a total exception of what's going on with NVDA. We talked about it, and we will touch on it more and more throughout the session. But you're not wrong, but again, here we are trading it, and unfortunate enough, we're getting things to work out for us, so I like that. But let's take a look at Netflix and talk a little bit about Netflix as well, and we'll talk some UAL not too long, shortly after, guys. But here, let's take a look at Netflix. We all know that these guys had an absolute monster report, doubling estimates in new subs, in newly paid subs, just under 19 million, beat on rev, beat on EPS. Again, these guys are just an absolute streaming giant, 300 million subscribers around the world. So that's pretty much every household in America has Netflix. And sure enough, one thing that I really like about Netflix, Sharif, is that these guys are staying, even though that you've seen that they had the live events, right? They had the live events and they're streaming some NFL games. But one thing that I really like about Netflix is that they're staying away from these bidding wars with basketball, right? And some of these other sports. They're not in, they're avoiding that. They're like, okay, you guys can have these bidding wars with basketball. You can pay $80 billion or whatever it may be to stream these basketball games. We're going to focus on something else, and we're going to get better at that. They're also increasing the cost of your monthly subscription as well, too. So that is just strictly margins. This thing is an absolute beast. We talked about it a lot on Jimmy Carter Day. Now they have WWE on Monday and Fridays, one of the largest sporting events in America. And now you're getting these big NFL games as well, too. As well as I'm assuming that they have more of these live sporting events like Paul versus Tyson in the pipeline that we don't necessarily know about just yet. But this company is phenomenal, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I'm just waiting for this split here, Sharif, because up here, not going to chase it up here, but if we get that split, I think a lot more hands are going to get involved in it.
You and I have been talking about that for a minute. You remember we were kind of throwing it out there, like which one is due for a split? I think, and I failed to mention Netflix, and you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's like
how about Netflix?
Netflix and Costco. It's like, okay, we're waiting for those splits. But yeah, I don't know what you think about Netflix, Sharif, but I think they're just going to continue to grow, and especially with these live sporting events coming down the pipeline.
And it makes more sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base here, but it makes more sense to me for customer-facing stocks to split more often, so a B2C, a business to customer, than a B2B, because a lot more people are gonna know about it, and retail is the one that cares about price per share. Institutional doesn't care about price per share, and they're more likely going to know about B2B. So if you're a B2C, I don't know. I just feel like you should be more split.
I really like that, what you just said. I like what you just said there as well, too, Sheik, because Katina Man made a really good point when IBKR reported earnings last night. He says if you're not happy with the fees, buy the stock.
Well said.
Right? So that makes so much sense. So you have the ability to, that you're paying out the rear end for iPhones and all the Apple ecosystem. Buy the stock. Buy the stock. You can own Netflix, right? And now with this and IBKR, you can own the IBKR.
How'd they do, by the way?
They did fantastic again.
Taking all my dang money,
taking all the money. Everything's up over year and year. He said there is a large increase in margin accounts that he finds slightly alarming, and he's not the most bullish on crypto.
Really?
Yeah. He's not the most bullish on crypto. He says it's essentially hot air.
I don't want to hear what
it's interesting. So there you go. If you're not happy with it, buy the stock, and sure enough, you'll be able to make some money off it.
All right, a storm of prints is coming here, baby, because we're breaking through 4 now. Now I'm waiting at 4:15, and I ain't talking about the time, baby. All right, here we go. We took out 4. We took out 410. Now I'm waiting at 15s. Let's go. We're long 69s, and that was not by design, I promise. That was completely accidental. Bang! There we take out 15s. I appreciate you, Adair. Appreciate you, Joseph. Now we're going to set up at 25s. So I have, I'm kind of habitual in the levels that I like to set up at. I'm superstitious in that way, come what may. Now we're waiting at the $0.25. But my plan doesn't change here. It is the volume-weighted average price that got me into the stock, and it will be the volume-weighted average price that gets me out if I haven't exhausted all my outs to the upside. So we're going to keep an eye out on BLBX, beautiful hold of VWAP, and a doji candle to boot. You got everything you wanted there if you were looking for a reversal pattern. You got VWAP, a key area of technical support. You got the doji candle, a candle of indecision, showing you that, the tug of war between buyers and sellers was coming into play. In addition to all that, if that wasn't enough, you got a price action area support at 3 2/3. I'm talking about this area crest. I'm talking about that area crest, and I'm talking about this one over here. So good look right now for BLBX, the #1 gapper in the whole world. No, I have no idea if that's true, but it is the #1 gapper on my scanner, up 145%. Let's see if this one can take out the $0.25, showing 20s now. All right, let's go. All right, here we go. $0.25 incoming. We're at 25s and bang. We take it out again at the $0.25. Now we're going to set up in front of the $0.50. I'm going to sit at 42s, come what may. Let's see if we can get something up there. Good look right now for BLBX as it tries to work its way back into the high. Just to give you some information, we had a topping tail candle into 496 right at 10:45, so 15 minutes before the show started. But I don't know how you feel about this, Tisha. I'm throwing this out there to you because I know you're always trading these small cap gappers. Would you base your level of resistance on the wick on something like that, like into a 5? Or do you look at the closing prints on these two bad boys? Like look at the closing prints on the candle at 1045 and 1050. They're both at 460. So I kind of feel like I'm not really sure exactly whether to base it off 496 or that 460 based on the print or the wick. So we're going to keep an eye out certainly on BLBX. A couple of other ones that I didn't mention right at the get-go, VATE. This is one that we were looking at yesterday. Not a big percentage-wise, but very consistent pattern over here. Let's throw in the ticker just so that you guys can follow along. Here we go, VATE, it's a second day play. We are still, though, south of that high that we put in yesterday at 11 bucks. So I think that if we get into 11, either we reject or we squeeze. VATE up 11 3/4. And then I already mentioned Sana and STAI, but I didn't mention REKR and RR, Rich Tech Robotics. Let's start with REKR. I know.
Is RR moving today?
It is, my man. It's up nicely and change up here. But REKR, Joseph's been very respectful of the 10 exponential, and that's an aggressive looking angle there. Now, it's not giving you much in the way of notional, having closed, I believe, at that $1.57, but we're at $2. $2 is an obvious area of resistance. We couldn't break through it decisively over here. We got into 204, dropped, but then reclaimed the 10 exponential quite quickly. I'd like to see if this one can close decisively above that $2 area, and then we can look to weasel in. And then Rich Tech Robotics, as Joseph was talking about, RR, up a cool 23.5%. It's about 5 pennies off the high. It seems to have a bit of resistance over here at 390. This one also looks interesting here. Like now as I'm looking at this one looks like it's wicking off the 20 exponential. It's done that twice on the retracements. One at 1005, doji, a bottoming tail candle, essentially a hammer candle, off the 20, and then it did it again at 1055. Both prints, both wicks were off the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. So possibly base something off that. Not really sure. We'll have to watch this for a little bit more. So we're going to keep an eye here, Joseph, on RR. What's going on over there,
Oh, man. I'm looking at the daily on RR. And then like that 204 dip buy, now trading higher, so almost like 100% in a couple of days. But we have a great question here from Daddy Gator. How will a split affect a long call in Netflix? Does it get cheaper? That's a fantastic question. No, it doesn't get cheaper. So just imagine you had your contract of Netflix. So that is the rights to 100 shares. If Netflix does a 10-to-1 split at $1,000, you now have 10 contracts, right? So it's the same as a split ratio. The value of the contract doesn't get any cheaper. So that's a great question. I had to fact check myself as well too on that one. But yeah, so whatever it may be, whatever the split factor is, because you own 100 shares or you have the right to 100 shares, you will get that same split factor. All right. So 10-to-1 is when you will get 10 contracts. But we have some other good questions by Dipish. Can we see all-time highs today for NVDA? Looks like it's consolidating at 146. Yes, and that's, I think, exactly what it's doing. Are we going to go all-time highs today? I mentioned earlier in the session that's still about 4 or 5% away. So that's going to be a hefty move here for NVDA. I mean, the catalyst is extremely heavily weighted, so anything can happen at this point. The market can start pricing in all these possible gains for the future. So forward looking there. But as of right now, the SPY is absolutely ripping. So probably being led by XLF. But as of right now, kind of laggard here in the queues, holding it back. If it decides that it wants to pick up some steam and get moving, we can start to test those. But as for today, I don't think necessarily today it's going to happen, but it can happen within the next week or two, all right? So just keep that in mind. Joe W, only Raw is on Netflix. International in some countries, it has both, but then it isn't a lot right now with all the previous contracts. I'm pretty sure they have Friday Night SmackDown as well, too. I've seen it on there, and whatever the other segment that they opened up there. So no problem, Daddy Gator, Day Trader Cut. The premiums are cheaper, but to buy after split for at the money or whatever. Yeah, sorry, not too sure what you mean about that, but here we are, guys, in NVDA. Let's see if we can break through the volume-weighted average price. One thing that we do need to keep an eye out on here is this double top formed on NVDA. So when we held VWAP here and we didn't breach that that high day, that's slightly alarming because that can maybe signal that there's a little more weakness, or we just need to do a little bit more of a liquidity grab. Need more liquidity to follow the least the path of least resistance. All right, so grab some liquidity and then go higher for the higher day. But as of right now, it's a tough look, chopping around. If we decide to take another leg down, maybe we can go and test that 145 price target and then go higher. But I think for the next coming couple days or the weeks or so, I think NVDA is going to be sitting in a pretty place. But one thing I really want to look at here before we send it up to Sharif is XLF, because I'm really curious on what is dragging the SPY higher, significantly higher than the Qs. And I'll have to dive a little bit more into that and look at the sector watches, the sectors, and see what they got going on. What do you got going on?
Yeah, I was having a look to see exactly why that was the case, because that's a really good point by, well, you got the likes of Meta up 2 1/3, the monster Microsoft up 3 1/4. What the hell? And then you got Amazon up almost 1 3/4. Yeah, and then Nvidia obviously is up 3.5. I think that's basically it. The Mix 7 are just really outperforming today. That's probably the look. I'm gonna get to Meta in a second, Mark, because Mark asked nicely for me to look at Meta, and I absolutely will. But REKR is going, guys. And now it's decisively taken 2. So I perceive this. This is the 5-minute chart on REKR. Okay, so we're looking at the 5. Usually on the white charts, it's always the 1 for me. But this, I wanted to narrow it down, show you the bull flag. This is clearly to me a bull flag. Okay, you get the big move up, almost a straight up move from that 1 2/3 all the way up into 2. We whiffle, we waffle between $1.90 and $2. Unsurprising, obviously that whole dollar level typically acts as resistance initially. So that's what I'm looking to gauge off. I'm looking at, I'm basically looking for a retest of $2. Now, I may not get it, because when these small cap gappers are in their full strong mode, they have back-to-back bull flags. And if you're going to have back-to-back bull flags, then the flag or the pennant component of the whole pattern can't come all the way down to the breakout area. That's where the pole starts. So here's what I mean. The pole starts for the initial bull flag over here at $1.70. It goes all the way up to 204. We whiffle waffle between 190 and 2. And then we get the breakout through 2. So currently, this candle right here, we got the bull flag from 2 all the way up, well, probably 220, 225, and then we'll consolidate. So this is bull flag number 2 right now in formation on REKR, and look at it, it's going into 220. This is a nice breakout here on REKR. I suck for not having it. I should have had the break, or at least something in the mid-90s, if not above 2 by a skosh. It doesn't look like my dip trade into 203, 204 will fill. And if it does, it might not be the right trade. So I think I'm going to cancel that trade right now for a dip into there. And I'm going to look to take the consolidation component of the second bull flag, or what I perceive to be the formation of the second bull flag here on REKR. Good breakout, good strength on that one right now. We're going to keep an eye on it. I've moved up my stop, by the way, from on BLBX, because it's rejected that 440 area. I missed getting printed by 1 penny. That's so frustrating. But I've moved up my stop from below the $0.50, and now I'm putting it below the area trough. So that, by definition, gives me a mid-50s out. So we're going to have to move up the stop over here on BLBX. But now, let's look at Meta for our friend Mark. So Meta looks real good today. Let's zoom out a little bit over here. We're going to go to the daily, just figure out where we're at. I'm going to have to remove these pivot points because they pollute the chart when we're doing a daily analysis. I do apologize. There we go. So we're in a consolidative area for Meta. We haven't broken out through that 640 area. That is the top, I'll submit to you. But what we do have is awful respect for the 50 exponential moving average on the daily. You have a lot of respect for that level with Meta once, twice, and OB dang thrice. So that's number 1. Number 2, I feel like it's a bit of an ascending wedge. It looks more consolidative than an ascending wedge, but let me make my case. We have higher lows on each successive trough with that 640 flat top waiting to be broken out here on META. So I see this from the daily to be bullish, looks range bound, but I think we're putting in higher lows. Now, let's zoom out into the 5, or zoom in, excuse me, to the 5. And this one looks like it's really respecting the higher low, higher high situation. I would look to get it off 629.5 to 630 mark. I don't know how you feel about that. Look at this area consolidation over here, Joseph. That's at 629. We couldn't break through 629 on META. You attempted it at 1010. You had another attempt at 1015. A few more attempts over here between 1030 and 1045. And then you got the big boy breakout at a quarter after the hour, 11:15, and we haven't looked back since. So personally, I would look for that 629 to possibly 629.5 area resistance to act as support. Adara is at the big desk.
Sharif, I'm pleased to announce I have another smaller cap name for you to watch here at your watch list today, and it is called Schrodinger. It's worth noting, market cap not tiny and price point not really tiny either, about $1.6 billion market cap, around a $25 name, but what a bull flag here on the 15-minute chart for Schrodinger, announcing this morning here that they have basically have these inducement grants under their NASDAQ listing rules. So some inducement grants for SDGR, 15% short float. Then this most recent volume candle comes in on the 15-minute after Hunter Brook Research actually issues a long report. So Hunter Brook Research long SDGR. I guess that cat is out of the bag. Great look for Schrodinger. Back to you, Bash Brothers.
Adara, I need to know immediately. Do you know about Schrodinger's cat? Get it, Adara. Yes, I missed that part of the pun. Yes, Adara. All right, Schrodinger's cat. Again, full disclosure, I ain't no science guy. I only know this because of the Big Bang Theory. Like, they talk a lot about Schrodinger's cat for whatever reason in the Big Bang Theory. If you don't know what it is, it's basically this, it's a hypothetical scenario where unless you open the box where the cat is, you don't know if it's alive, dead. So until you open it up, it's alive, dead, or both. And it's supposed to be some scientific principle that helps explain a lot of the more vague concepts. In any event, did you read about it?
Yeah, I read about it. Yeah, interesting.
All right, I like this Schrodinger already. It looks, hopefully we'll be able to trade something on it if it sets up the right way. There you go, Jay Lee. Jay Lee knows what it's all about. It's both dead and alive. Superposition.
Superposition.
That's quantum.
Yeah, is it?
The quantum, because like quantum, you can be either in a positive or negative state, because that's how these, what's it called, transistors work. But the qubit can be in a positive and negative state simultaneously. Okay. I don't know how it works, Joseph.
Right.
I ain't no science guy.
That's the quantum stuff.
But that's the quantum stuff. We got to weasel back to Adara, though.
All right.
We actually have United Airlines here, UAL. This one touching down near low of days here for United Airlines, which again, it's worth noting, gapped up initially on earnings. We have some comments coming through here from the company's CEO. They said they do expect here some strong international demand, and supply constraints. So they're expecting some constraints over the next decade. So long-term constraints here for UAL, and they do mention here our friends at Boeing, basically saying that they are having, or their CFO here mentioning that there's going to be some production delays impacting their deliveries and labor agreement cost pressures. They do have some optimism here on Boeing and their 737 MAX 10, but they basically hear UAL struggling with both supply and demand, apparently, guys. Back to you.
How did I not get the fill? Oh, Joseph.
No.
Suck.
It's all good. I mean, just to touch back on Meta a little bit here, we're only about 1%, a little over 1% off the all-time highs here, but we have Amazon all-time highs as well here, guys, and Google approaching those all-time highs. So a lot of these big names are moving today throughout the session. So I'm just waiting for NVDA to kind of pick up some steam. We are starting to form this consolidation phase here. Which way are we going to break? I want to see that momentum step into the top side and that volume start to come in, and then we can continue and possibly go and test that high of day. The longer we consolidate here, I think that a little more confidence I have in this positive catalyst and in this setup. So especially with the market, the SPY is just absolutely roaring to the top side. So here we are. We don't want it to continue too much without us. It is lagging for a reason, and we got to determine and figure out that reason. If we decide that we want to pick up some steam, then I think it's going to continue to drag the market higher and higher. But at some point, it has to catch up, and some party has to win, whether it be the Bears or the Bulls. So the higher we go and the longer that NVDA stays within this range, that is not good for this long, because once we start to break down, then those sellers can step in and really take advantage and and the initiative of what direction we are going to possibly head in. So LRCX, Nick W asked us to look, I don't know why I can't speak today. LRCX, let's do, oh, okay, wow, yeah, Lamb Research, trading extremely well, good find, Nick W. I know you always have really hot picks. That thing is continuing to trade higher, breaking through some key resistance zones on the daily. Really, really good price action here from an intraday standpoint, running into some key resistance levels. We're going to need that momentum, and that momentum seems to have stepped in for today's session to punch through some of these levels. So that's a really good look on Lamb Research there, Nick W. But let's talk a little bit about King Crypto. Right? We'll take a quick look at the King Crypto themselves, and now we're just kind of forming this pattern here, consolidation. Let's see if we can get this next couple of days, these candles to open alongside or at the top of this range to kind of form that ABC-like pattern, and then we can continue with that momentum and then test these highs, all-time highs, So there that is. Lamb Research looking really good. Bitcoin kind of in a choppy mess. When I looked at my cam structure this morning, I kind of determined, hey, yeah, this isn't necessarily looking like too good of a long. And I want you guys to look at the NVDA cam structure. We went over the Camarilla pivots yesterday, sitting on top of R4 in the pre-market hours. And sure enough, we get that break higher. But let's see what Adair is up to.
We have here NFLX. I was just carefully examining this chart here because it's actually, I was trying to figure out how long we've been consolidating near this 965 level. It's been upwards of an hour now. So NFLX really stuck in, I would say, no more than a $10, $15 consolidation range here for this stock after their earnings. They did beat here on earnings per share and sales, but I really think it's important to emphasize their guidance for Q1 was a miss across the board. Lower than expected Q1 EPS guidance by quite a large amount here, $5.58 versus $5.98 expected. Their revenue guidance also a miss, $10.416 billion versus $10.489 billion expected, and their gross margin guidance apparently also missed for Q1. However, they did raise their revenue guidance for fiscal 2025 by $500 billion. They announced here a $15 billion buyback program, where they've added an additional $15 billion to their their already existing buybacks. So now they've got about $17.1 billion approved worth of buybacks. The other thing for Netflix here is, of course, their excellent subscriber numbers here. They added almost double the expected amount of ads. And then they also here basically said they have about 16% here year-over-year increase there in their global membership. So great look there for NFLX. PG here, Procter & Gamble. There's a couple other earnings names. We just talked about UAL, so I wanted to mention this one here for a bit. Procter & Gamble, they did beat here on EPS and they beat on sales. They did maintain their guidance here for their core EPS. So $6.91 to $7.05. The lower end of that is slightly below estimates of $6.93. They maintain that they're expecting 2 to 4% sales growth. But what was interesting to me in their call was the stuff they said about their skincare sales. So apparently one of their beauty brands had an increase of 5% sales for fiscal Q2 2025, which is the quarter they're in. However, apparently in North America, their entire skincare sales are down a staggering double digits. So apparently, other than this one brand, skincare sales are pretty rough here for Procter & Gamble in North America. Not a ton of earnings tonight. We have Kinder Morgan tonight. We have Alcoa tonight. And then tomorrow morning, we'll have American Airlines. Thursday afternoon, though, I'm pretty excited to get Texas Instruments will get there. I believe Intuitive Surgical as well. So there should be some exciting names there coming up later in the week. Back to you.
Appreciate that, Adira. Yeah. Now we're in the heart of earnings season. It's going to get real crazy, real busy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know how you guys manage earnings season. I like to mark the calendar. I like to know when the big boys are going to report. You get, you do your homework the night before. You chart out those levels. You see what the analysts are predicting, this, that, and the other. You just got to do your homework, Joseph. It's earnings season now.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, earnings season, I think, is one of the most genuine aspects of the market. Is when you get those definitive moves, the street is very decisive on where they want to send the stock and which direction. And that's why I really enjoy earnings season. As Sharif mentioned, you do your research. You're getting ready for the next day to see who's reporting in the morning, who's reporting after market close. And then you just wait for the next day and let these reports come out. And I really like the decisiveness within the market during earnings season, especially with these, even with NVDA today, Sharif, just really decisive price action out of the gate. And the street has an idea, okay, you get that forward outlook, those strong forward outlooks like in UAL and Netflix as well too, great reports. And then sure enough, look at the stock's price action on those reports. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff, and I really like that. But I want to say thank you to, sorry if I butcher your name, Alisar Adir. Sorry if that's a long one. So thank you very much. And Jerry Garcia, thank you guys for those kind words. But here we are, guys, sitting in some NVDA. Continuing to trade higher, we added to this position, looking for that break, nice consolidation phase, and that volume is starting to pick up on the lower time frames as well too. So that is extremely positive. But getting back into earnings, Sharif, I always take a look at the calendar as well too, and I like to see what we have coming up because I do like to play these tickers, especially if their price action is according to my setups for the following session. So today we know we had Procter & Gamble in the morning and then J&J as well too. But let's see what we have in the morning tomorrow. So we got GE in the morning, Union Pacific and INTC. I think that's going to be a good one, and UMP as well. So nothing like crazy, but let's see what we have after the close. And that's what Adara mentioned this, that we have TXN and CSX coming up after the close. But I believe next Wednesday is where those big boys are going to start to report.
Apple and Amazon on the same day.
Yeah, exactly. They usually report on the same day, and it gets a little hectic. So on that Wednesday, we have Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, ASML, and TMUS on that Wednesday.
ASML's on Wednesday?
ASML's on Wednesday before market open. And then on the Thursday, we have Apple and Visa after market close. So there we go. A lot of stuff coming, and I like how they kind of all are compressed together. Makes it really easy. It's like almost throw a dart at the board and select what stock that you want to trade on that session.
Adara's at the big desk with breaking news.
KSS breaking to the downside. Kohl's, I'm seeing here on X, people are saying that there's a report of bankruptcy. I have not seen this report of bankruptcy. I have not seen any specific source saying that there's some bankruptcy reported. Literally, I've only seen about 3 tweets about this, and all of them are just people saying, hey, did someone say there's bankruptcy? So I want to clarify, there is absolutely zero, I guess, clarification, your confirmation, what have you, but KSS dropping to the downside and what it seems like extremely unsubstantiated rumors of bankruptcy. Speaking of unsubstantiated rumors, I want to comment too. I know some people were mentioning Intel, whether or not that's going to be taken over by Elon Musk. I've seen 0 reports here, not even very much chatter about this being the case, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, there it is. She's absolutely accurate. I got it at the same time. KSS. Traders circulating unconfirmed rumor from research blogs suggesting the company may file for bankruptcy. No more news other than that. I'm getting it from Benzinga as well over here. Shout out to Adara for bringing us really important news. We're going to keep an eye out on KSS. It is on the way down. The low of day right now, 1284. It's trading at 1289. Keep your eye out on this one, down 2 1/3. Okay. But BTCT, somebody asked me to review this for them, and I absolutely will. I looked at this one yesterday, and my opinion still hasn't changed. These ones are, and I'm talking about the miners, I'm not a big fan of in terms of a proxy play for crypto. They don't trade the same way. There's a whole plethora of reasons why that is the case. We're not going to get into the fundamentals, but look at the technicals. All I see is lower highs. We did, for whatever reason, defend that $4 area quite well all through December, and then we got a big boy pop-up on the 17th. And then we've got a topping tail candle and another lower high today. So continuity is quite hard to come by on BTCT. In fact, today it's about 21% in the hole. Now, that's the daily chart that we were looking at right now. Let's flip to the 5, down and to the right. Adair would call this the hockey stick pattern, where you're basically hanging out near the close of yesterday, which was around 783. Down we go and then move sideways. You could also call this a bear flag. Obviously, kind of looks the same way. If you are looking for a bounce here, my friend, using $6 as support, well, okay, absolutely, you could do that. 601 is the day low. You could put your stop at 595, 598, whatever pleases you, and then look for a possible move back into VWAP, which is currently at 655. That is not my style of trade. I don't like to trade these guys south of VWAP. But yeah, you could have at it if you want. That's a gnarly noise.
Oh, it sounds like a dying cat.
Gnarly noise going on over there, Joseph.
Dying.
In any event, yeah, BTCT, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the miners in general. That could change, though. Let them break out technically. Has anybody looked at the chart on Mara? It's the most insanely range-bound chart ever. So, well, maybe not ever, but you guys get my drift over here. I'm just not a fan, and I'm going to steer clear of these guys and go either straight to the spot ETF or the coin itself. Now, REKR, we're involved in this one. 3 outs so far. We just took out the high of the day. We printed a new high at 20s. I wet my beak at 19s. Now I'm going to wait at 222s. I don't know, because it's a cool number. So we're going to wait at 222 on REKR. And I did exactly what I wanted.
And VDA.
And VDA's printing to the doorstep. Take it, bro. That's more important.
Let's go. Yeah. Sorry there. We'll send it back here real quick. But yeah, here we go, guys. Starting to climb higher on NVDA. We're gonna hold the majority of this position until we get to that high a day. But as you can see, we are slowly starting to climb higher and breaking out, dragging the overall market with it. So this is, and you know what? Alex Davis pointed out a good ticker as well too, which I wasn't really familiar with. And he says, Joe, can you look at TSSI 1 month RSI at 98.5? Wondering if a correction is ahead. I know nothing about this company, but within the first couple sentences here, Sharif, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be the case if a correction is coming. So TSSI, are you familiar with the company?
TSSI, looking right now.
I have it up here. I was just curious.
No, I don't.
Not a clue.
No.
Now, I'm going to read the first sentence.
Okay.
Is a data center service company that integrates high-performance computing infrastructure and software. Are you going to sell that company, especially after what you heard 500 at all, right? So that's what I was getting at here. I didn't even know anything about this company. I read the first 2 sentences of what this company actually does, and as of right now, $500 billion. I am not looking for any form of correction in this company. We'll pull up the technicals here and see what we got going on. And look, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. From March 24, we're up over 1,800%. Correction, I don't know, especially after yesterday's news. Can you get somewhat of a pullback? Absolutely, but this is a company, Alex Davis, if you've been in this since mid last year, congratulations to you. What an absolute beautiful pick here. And this thing is continuing to climb higher. Obviously going to be a sympathy play on yesterday's news, so good luck there. The market cap isn't crazy, only about 347 million. I'd say only, but I mean, hey, we deal with trillion-dollar companies these days, but there it is, good find there on TSSI. But
we got to send it up.
Oh, I didn't hear. Okay, yeah, I didn't get that one. So we'll send it off to Adair there, guys.
Here, KSS, I think I've seen the source of this rumor, and it looks like it is basically a post from Hedge Eye called "Is Kohl's Going Bankrupt?" And that seems to be the entirety of what happened here. Kohl's here, yeah, that's all I'm seeing anyway as of right now. KSS, it is worth noting, January 10th, so that would have been a couple weeks ago now, they basically did announce they're going to be closing some stores, but that was really all they've said. The company's actually said. It seems like this Hedge Eye headline saying, "Is Kohl's going bankrupt?" from what I can tell is the start of all of this. Also seeing some headlines, apparently Netflix is launching Netflix Bites, a restaurant residency here at MGM Grand. Apparently, I'm seeing this report, so I can read more about the Netflix Bites residency, but lots of exciting, interesting headlines today, guys.
Just see that right now. Great call out, Adara. Netflix to open restaurant in Las Vegas next month at Live Experiences Business Expands, says a Hollywood Reporter. Las Vegas' newest residency isn't a musical act. It's an opportunity to taste everything Netflix has to offer. I didn't know Netflix offered food, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know.
What is going on? Talk about expanding your boat.
They should get into like shorts. Right? Netflix shorts. That's a good idea.
What do you think they serve here? Like finger foods that you watch during a movie and stuff like that?
I would hope so.
Pierogies. I don't know what else.
Pierogies. I don't know if pierogies would be the first thing. Or like, all right, I'm watching a movie
Imagine
tonight.
Going to Vegas pierogies.
Yeah, that's definitely not the first thing on my mind there is pierogies. But we got one more question, and then yeah, that's crazy. Nadia, tell me what you're really thinking there. Nessa has a great question. Morning, Joe. When you get options contracts, how far do you usually go.
Yeah, Ram.
So that's a good question. It all depends on the strategy, and we know the power of options. You can implement multiple strategies utilizing the options contracts. If I'm writing, I only do weeklies, okay? So that's time working in your favor. And when I refer to writing, that means selling options. And then if I'm going to buy options contracts, I like to buy time. I try to buy as much time as I possibly can because I don't want theta. I don't want to worry about theta, sorry. So if you have a 1 to 2 week swing, three to 6 months, I'm buying that contract. I'm paying for that premium. I'm gonna pay for theta all day because I don't want that contract to diminish, especially if my timing is off with that trade idea. Then I don't wanna have to deal and worry about losing value of those contracts just because my timing was off. So hopefully that answered your question. 0DTE, Lambo Trades, day trader guy. Yeah, he's always been saying that. So yeah, that is that. I won't be eating pierogies or watching too much Netflix this evening, but yeah.
See your friend Big Smile there?
What do you say?
Netflix opening in Vegas to start a new reality show on the Bunny Ranch.
The Bunny Ranch.
He's a liability, huh?
Oh,
Such
okay.
a liability.
I see what he means by Bunny
Such
Ranch.
a liability.
Yeah, well.
Love him, but he's a liability.
Yeah.
All right, look at where, is that you, Ram, that's typing? Okay, it is. I just wanted to make sure. It's actually not a bad idea, Ramin. I want them to do food from movies. I think that's quite clever, actually, themed. And then she goes on to rant, Netflix and chill at the Netflix restaurant, Ram. You get a standing ovation. You can rent your little booths, you know?
Find me at that Netflix restaurant.
There you go, baby. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but like you could get a booth, you could Netflix and chill in the booth, and it is Vegas after all.
Now you're on to something. Now you're on to something.
All right.
It's just gonna end up turning into a club with movies at this point.
Yeah, or something like that.
With the direction that we're headed on.
Yeah, well, there's other things that I probably shouldn't. Should probably keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But it's okay, Joseph. Everything's fine. All right, guys. BLBX. I had one out left on this bad boy. This one gave up the volume-weighted average price, so that is it. We're gone on this one. Stopped out for about a 5-penny lose. No, more. 10-penny loser on that last little piece. All good. We are doing well here on REKR. We've been rejecting 22s for whatever reason. High a day, $2.22. That's where I've been sitting for a while. It hasn't filled me, and I don't know exactly why I didn't cross. There is a seller of note at 22s. When the tape was, or when the level 2 was up there, I could kind of see that there was likely a hidden seller at that level. There just wasn't enough size at the level of 22s to prevent it from ascending given the volume that was coming in on the time and sales. So keep your eye out on that. REKR now up 40%, looking to go more. The only reason I weaseled in here is because it came and it tested that previous breakout level. So I said, this is my opportunity to get in because I had initially missed the initial bull flag. So REKR on the dang way up. But there's others that are moving along here, not just REKR. SANA, and I called this one out earlier, giving you possible opportunity now. I mean, this is the biggest retracement you could say we've had on the day. This candle right here at 1150 that printed just before noon, coming back into the 10 exponential and holding the 10 exponential. Now, this looks like a bit of a deeper retracement. So what I'd like to do on SANA is I'd like to get it, Adara. I'd like to be able to set up at the volume weighted average price, and that is basically at 3 1/3. If the 10 exponential gives way and we close below the 10 exponential on SANA, I will put in a dip trade to front run, in fact, the volume weighted average price, which is right now sitting at 335. So we're going to keep an eye out there. Again, we move into 22s on REKR. Sorry to jump between different stocks. And again, we reject. There is a seller of note. So I'm going to move that price down to 21s. Just so that we can get that there. There we go. We got it at 21s. Now I'm going to set up at 25s because I like that number. So here we go. We're setting up. Okay, and I'm happy I took it there because it dropped to 18. So REKR on watch, SANA on watch. And this one as well. I mean, I kind of had this one up on the side chart, but I stopped talking about it because it did this big boy retracement. I'm talking about PTLE. It's up 30%. Big move up into that 3 1/4. In fact, that is the high of the day. And then you got an aggressive retracement all the way from 3 1/4 down to 2 1/4 in 2 5-minute candles. That is ugly. And then the reason I didn't talk about it is because it was trading below the volume weighted average price. That is changing, however. It is now incrementally working its way up vis-a-vis higher highs and higher lows into that white line, which is always going to be, on my charts, guys, the volume weighted average price. I want to see it close above VWAP, and I will be very interested in PTLE if it is to work into that level and stay above that level. So that one certainly on watch. Joseph, what do you got, my man?
Hey, good luck there, my friend. We got another $5 super chat from my guy, Nick W. Hey, Joe, hope you are well. No, I hope you're well, my friend. So I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. Had a nice gym session last night and did some reading.
What'd you get?
I did some shrugs, some dips and push-ups, and some curls.
Those are good. Yeah, full upper body there.
Full upper body there.
Love
I have a little bit of a knee injury from hockey, so just been chilling on the legs for now, but we'll get back into it. So, but anyways, let's get back to AMBA. I have some calls, and it looks like it's broke out on a daily March calls. So let's pull that up for my guy, Nick W., an original. Now, Nick, I like this look from a longer-term perspective, maybe from earlier last year. But one thing that we're going to keep an eye out for is this candle right here, right, at an extreme high with that almost isolated volume signature. So if we pull back, there is still a little bit of buying pressure. You can see that wick, so that can be like, hey, okay, maybe this pullback won't be as deep, but you have some March calls. You do have some time. I was reading about what the company does. Market cap around $3.4 billion. Is a developer of low power systems on a chip, SoC, semiconductor that provides artificial intelligence processing. Now you know what's going on in the AI game and what is happening. $500 billion going into that. Lots of money into infrastructure. Here we are with Umbrella Inc. I think you're going to be sitting pretty for a little while here. All right, so it may take some time. And we were just talking about that with Nessa. Buying more time is the ideal thing here with options contracts, especially if you have that longer term play. You did buy some, but again, if you don't get that immediate move, the closer we get to expiration, the quicker theta picks up and it will diminish the value of those contracts. But I do like this for a longer term play, Nick. Hopefully that works out really well for you, and I'm sure it will, because that is a good pick, and you've been nothing short of hot picks as of late.
Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Who is Elon's, he has many people that he calls enemies or, let's just.
His arch?
Yeah, his arch.
His arch
Who
rival.
is the current one, would you say?
Zuck, maybe, no?
Okay, you keep going. All right, fair.
Okay,
all right.
I don't know, you got
Who's
me
he beefing with the other day, like that he's complaining about constantly? Sam Altman.
Sam Altman, yes, there we go, Sam Altman.
So obviously yesterday we all heard about Stargate, and $500 billion is not a sum of money that, other than a handful of people that can throw around. Obviously Mass, one of them, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, these are big names, shouldn't be discredited. But Elon has been very specific about how he feels about this whole thing. He doesn't think they have the money. So obviously, staying true to form, Elon took to X to vent how he thought or what he thought about this whole thing. So he chimes in over here. They don't actually have the money. SoftBank has well under $10 billion secured. I have that on good authority. Then, obviously, Sam Altman, with his all lower caps, which is kind of his modus operandi on X, wrong, as you surely know. Want to come visit the first site already underway? We know that's in Texas. This is great for the country. I realize what is great for the country isn't always what's optimal for your companies, but in your new role, I hope you'll mostly put America first. Shots fired by Sam Altman trying to call out Elon. Adaira's at the big desk. We'll chime in a second.
That's crazy, yes.
This part of the show is brought to you here by Prop Firm Match. Are you a skilled trader but lacking capital? Prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, which allow you to showcase your skills. Access account sizes ranging from 5K to 500K, and you could start with as little as $20. But with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you find out which ones are the best? That's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment histories. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals. And it's all in one place. Scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and find the perfect prop firm for you. We're going to take a look now at the NASDAQ, which is up about 1 and almost 2/3% here now. S&P 500 still underperforming. They're down they're literally about 1% lower than that NASDAQ right now, but they're still up almost 1% on the day. It's just clear here that some of these NASDAQ names are driving up this market. When we looked at the sectors, we talked about a lot of these S&P 500 heavy sectors are not necessarily doing as well. We had some NYSE names reporting earnings today, including J&J and PG that could be bringing down the sector. But if you are a tech name, you are certainly most likely strong because we've got Netflix nicely to the upside off earnings. And we have almost every AI name in existence strongly to the upside on this Stargate-related catalyst. But I want to talk here briefly about Microsoft. In addition to, as was just mentioned there by Sharif, which I saw and kind of had to share there, we do have Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, which is, of course, backed by Microsoft, apparently stepping into the ring here with Elon Musk. But it's also worth noting here, this Stargate deal, which does involve OpenAI, is basically now Microsoft rescinding its role as its sole cloud provider there for OpenAI, as Satya Nadella said today during the World Economic Forum that is the CEO of Microsoft. He basically said they still have first right of refusal, but if OpenAI requires more power than they can really provide, they are allowed to go to other places. So Microsoft and OpenAI fundamentally changing their relationship. That is certainly of note. MSFT here actually at day's highs. Great look. KSS has had quite the journey today. Kohl's dropping here on some rumors of bankruptcy that actually just seem to be coming from one singular post from Hedgeye, simply saying, is Kohl's going bankrupt? When that was resolved, it came right back up. So that is the deal here. Lots of tickers to keep an eye on. Let us know, like, subscribe, show your support for the show. Make sure to follow us here online. And also check out TTV Research if you like cool stock-related infographics. Back to you.
Absolutely. Make sure you are following Trader TV Research. It's fantastic stuff. Derek kills it on that.
Absolutely.
Shout out to her. So who do you got in this feud that's unfolding? Well, it's been underway.
Between Elon and Alt? Wow, that's a good question. I mean,
who's your horse in this race?
Who's my horse in this race? That is so tough, man.
I like the responses that we've got in the chat,
tough.
eh?
That's
you see who's
so
anti-Elon, who's pro-Elon.
That's such a tough question. I'm not like the biggest fan of the automotive industry, right? We all know what happened back in the 2000s. And then we have this AI revolution going on, but then people classify Elon as one of the purest AI plays because of this FSD and autonomy, right? So I'm gonna have to go with the winner who's kept on winning, and that is Elon Musk.
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day,
tough to bet.
Yeah,
like just as Mark Benioff always says, he's like, don't bet against Elon Musk. It's a tough bet. But in any event, I'm just gonna.
Who you got? I know who you got.
Well, I'm gonna have to say Elon, obviously, because I'm.
Yeah.
But I happen to like Altman.
Yeah, I like him.
I think he's a good speaker. I think he has a completely different personality than Elon. I think, he's very contemplative. Not that Elon is not, but Elon is more willing to be off the cuff with certain things. I like Altman. I think he's good for the business.
He's more contained.
Much more.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, obviously, how that all unfolds.
Well, I mean, Sam Altman had that news about him and his family, which was, I don't know about that and how true it was. But Elon, Elon, he's a great personality as well, too. And you can't bet against the man. He's one of the richest people on the planet. So how do you bet against that?
Games doesn't feel that way, though. He thinks Elon, or I have no idea, Elon is the biggest idiot on the planet.
Oh, okay. So he just got to be the richest man by being.
Everything was a fluke, Joseph. Right? Yeah. The cars were made by accident. He fell first into SpaceX.
Yeah.
The Boring Company drilled itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Boring Company did. Those tunnels weren't a good idea at all, I guess, eh?
No, I respect your opinion, man. I don't happen to agree with you at all, but that is the look. All right, guys. I got weaseled out of REKR here for the last, I had two pieces left, full disclosure. I put in a dip trade to defend 2. It didn't come down into 2, and now it's putting in a higher low on the 5. So the candle at 12 o'clock got all the way down to 202. The current candle that we're on at 12:05, that has about 30 seconds left, the low there, is 204. So it's a higher low. So I'm feeling maybe I should work my way back into it, but I don't have a good price. And if I get in here, I'll have essentially the same price I had at 210. So I think I might just hold off for a second here. I don't think this is the right entry for me on REKR. All right, guys, the Playmaker poll now officially
Is
up. Just to give you guys an idea of where we're standing on the day before you vote, the NQ is up 1 3/4%, and the ES Joseph above 4/5, 0.83. So vote. Vote
accordingly.
Yes, exactly. I'm hitting long.
Yeah.
I'm hitting long.
Did you actually?
I hit long. Yeah. Well, you got it.
I thought you were giving like a speech here to say, hey, we're kind of extended here. Maybe vote the short side this time to switch things up. But no, you're going right for it. Someone in the chat said, waiting for Elon to drop his meme coin.
Yeah, I've made my feelings clear about that.
Yeah,
I'm not
I think he's been in too much trouble already because of what he used to do with Dogecoin. So I highly doubt he's.
Can I say something though?
Yeah.
I think I was maybe I made myself a little bit misunderstood yesterday with how I feel about meme coins. So I'll just give you an example. Like, I'd like to be able to invest in a person that I think that will do well in their life and that are gonna basically reap the rewards of their success. But there has to be something in it for me other than capital appreciation. Here's what I mean. So if you tagged onto your coin a percentage of the profits that I would make from your earnings on a yearly basis for the price of that coin, then I would get into that. So I could share in your success.
So like a dividend.
A dividend, you want to call it whatever. Yeah, absolutely. A payout.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. But to buy a coin simply because the person is successful, well, what's the intrinsic value of that coin? You can make the same argument about Bitcoin, right? That it has no purpose, it doesn't serve a functional purpose, it's only the great of fools 3, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard that stuff before. But I think that, being able to invest in somebody, if they were to give you some sort of royalties, for example, singers, like I want to invest in Dua Lipa.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Right? Well, and then take a percentage of her sales, even if it's a
if we're going down that route, then you have to go with Taylor Swift, right? If you want to
Taylor Swift.
No, but what do you mean? Okay, what do you mean? But if you're going to invest in any pop superstar, it has to be Taylor Swift. Like, this girl's bringing in ridiculous amounts. Okay, Adair, what do you got going on? What do you got going on? Bring it to Adair. Let's hear what she has to say. Okay, we're not going.
Oh my God.
Okay, I guess we're not going. All right, so we'll continue with that talk. But I mean, yeah, I see. There we are. She's not ready now. Okay, now we're back here. But I mean, yeah, I would buy the Elon coin if there was one. But again, I wouldn't expect anything else out of it. There's no specific use case for it, right? Like, other than, hey, if your capital continues to appreciate, then at the end of the day, just buy the stock, I guess, maybe.
Well, that's the thing.
And people say they don't like Elon. Well, okay, maybe, then we'll buy it, maybe. And if it starts to continue to go on this bull run for the next 4, then maybe you'll like him a little bit more, right? So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Like,
but I would go with Taylor Swift coin over Dua Lipa coin.
Yeah, she's still losing it up there. Look, I'm not going to argue with her the fact that she prints up a storm, Adair. We know that. But the fact of the matter is, I don't like her music. You don't like her music.
I don't know any of her
Adair
songs.
thinks she's also disingenuous. I'm not going to speak for Adair, but yeah, you can chime in if you want.
I mean, I'm not going to get into this. I'm sure I could put out a TED Talk that'd be like 5 hours long. My thing is, I feel like there's no consistency in terms of the artistic vision. I get that she makes money, but she makes money because she knows people will buy anything. She makes, making 5 versions of the same album so your fans can buy all 5 is not making a great album. It's being a good merchandiser. And to me, those are 2 different things. I would not invest in that. Long Dua coin. I'm going to go long Dua coin. In support of
yes,
but I mean, that's the epitome of a business practice that you'd want to see, right? Like, okay, who cares what you put out there? Everybody just likes your product, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't matter if it's good or not. Kind of in the same instance with Nike, other than kind of the inverse of that. They wouldn't buy. They have a specific brand, right? People buy because of the Nike brand.
I agree with
that. And you say the material's half decent, but at the end of the day, do people really buy the? I guess they do, some portion, but again, it's the brand name, right?
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. So. And I love the chiming in here. Everybody's got an opinion about this. It's look, you guys are. Most people are right, and I think some of us can be right at the same time. The fact that she, makes a lot of money, and she prints up a storm, and at the fact that, maybe it's a little derivative there. But in any event, T Swift poll ID. Who
put that out there?
Who do you think, bro?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not even going to read the rest of it. Big smile. Come on,
Big
man.
smile,
199 super
man.
chat. Killing me, big smile. All right, guys. Yeah. You're just going to have to let that one go.
Didn't even.
Yeah. It's next up. All right, guys. There's not a whole lot in small cap gapper world that's making moves right now. The only one that I really perceive to be of any decent setup here is the one I'm looking at on my chart, REKR. We're out of that. I looked for a $2 dip trade. We didn't get it. So I'm not going to just jump into anything. There's nothing, in my opinion, right now that's setting up well. Maybe SANA at that 355, but it doesn't look good either. So I'm going to start looking for some other names. We don't have to trade small cap gappers all the time. I could switch to the large caps and have a look at those, see what is setting up well. Okay, over here. All right, so we seem to have gotten to a bit of a high. We're almost at 22,100. In fact, we got to 22,093 on the NQ March contract. And we're looking at moving up off that 10 exponential. Let's see if we can take out the 100-point level. As I see it, you have a couple of names here in Mag 7 World retracing. META just tagged 633.70 down into 631 and 2/3 it goes. Amazon looks like double toppy at these levels. You already have two arches. It kind of looks like the McDonald's sign over here, missing the right side of the M. This could be an interesting short below 233.80 or for breaks VWAP because it's got a double top forming here on MSFT. The other side of the coin is it could be a higher low, and we could be taking out 235. So AMZN was strong. It got the nod today from Cantor Fitzgerald, upgrading Amazon. They see a very bullish case for this company. Microsoft is up 4%. What is going on there, Katina? Man, I need answers, baby. Microsoft is a dang rocket ship on the day, and this is not typical for Microsoft. You've been watching the MAG for a while. You know 4% days are not... What's that, Adara? Yeah, Adara's going to chime in a second here, but 4% day for Microsoft is not usual. It is at 446 HOD, 445.96 high of day for Microsoft. Adara's got something for us.
We mentioned this briefly here during our midday happening now, but Microsoft, as far as I can tell, this name was actually implicated in the announcement there. This is going to be one of their apparently key partners here in the AI space with regards to that Project Stargate. So beyond the OpenAI connection, Microsoft is specifically implicated. So I think that's of note. They are directly here a player, according to the announcement, in that Stargate project. The other thing with Microsoft is Satya Nadella has apparently been here at Davos there for the World Economic Forum all day. I saw some comments. He was asked a little bit about the relationship between Microsoft and OpenAI. He didn't say anything particularly market moving. As you can see here, there weren't really any volume spikes in the stock beyond that opening print, but it is worth noting here too. One thing Satya Nadella did say is that he basically said AI is going to be basically more powerful than we know. It can help augment us, and its ceiling or its floor level is basically better than all of our ceilings. So he's just saying that AI is super powerful and capable of a lot. There was nothing new really said by Satya there, but MSFT, keep in mind Satya is at WEF there, the World Economic Forum, in addition to the fact that it's implicated in Project Stargate. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Yeah, I mean,
Adara,
didn't have eyes on that. Mr. Longshorts, TEM, Tempest, AKA Nancy Pelosi's new entry is up on the day. Let's have a look at TEM. Okay, so it had a great day yesterday, obviously, and a great couple of days. But today, it's up, 6 2/3, not bad. You're below the pre-market high. It looks like we topped out there at $53. Weren't able to, that's not the pre-market high, but you can see that's a pre-market crest there. The high was right at 4 a.m., took us into 56.80. We're above VWAP. Right now, incrementally higher lows and higher highs. We took out $50 quite aggressively. Now we're knocking the door of $51. There is this area resistance level here from 10.15 and 10.20, which is essentially 50.75. We're kind of at that level right now, trading at 50 and 2/3, so not quite through that level. But TEM, good look. I mean, on the day, closed out yesterday, despite the highs, it closed out at $46. So this one was moving aggressively in the aftermarket, guys. So we had a nice move initially from 9:30 onwards. We closed out, as I said, at 47.50, but it seems like all hell broke loose there at 5:30 or 5:25, we really moved up nicely from that 48 and change, and we got all the way up to 55 and a quarter on TEM. So in case you're wondering why sometimes these move aftermarket, well, there's obviously a news catalyst that could push them up, but also the pre-market and the aftermarket don't have volatility halt parameters. Like a stock can be halted, but not for volatility in the pre-market and in the aftermarket. So a lot of small cap traders that like these parabolic stocks or that want to trade stocks that move aggressively that wouldn't be subject to the halt parameter like to trade them in the pre-market. In the aftermarket, they specifically wait for those time slots to trade them. So could be a little bit of that we moved up so aggressively there. So TEM in focus, but really nothing to my liking right now, man. I got to tell you, I'm not seeing anything that I like right now. I'm even looking at the large caps as well, and they're all kind of in no man's land. I mean, Microsoft, yeah, it's definitely knocking on the door of 446. Meta, I could absolutely be persuaded to sit for a dip trade on Meta at 430. Meta had a resistance level at 430. It's coming back down now into 430, 630, excuse me, guys, not 430. 630, it's coming back down now into about 631 and a quarter. It's holding the 20 exponential moving average, but I mean, I don't know. I don't like anything right now. Katina, man, what are you looking at over there, brother? Is anything? Yeah, he's not pleased with everything either at the moment. So I'm gonna keep an eye out. Let me know what you guys are trading though. Is anything moving of note? Is good levels that we can get in at? Maybe something that was strong that's retracing off a key level. Let me know. Tag me though in the chat. Say that again.
Amazon's $1 away from 230.
The Katina man says Amazon's $1.30 away from the 52-week highs that we already broke. Yeah, today's all-time high, right?
Yeah, all-time high.
So he's thinking a pullback into 233, and that does make sense to me, Katina, man, because that pre-market high was 233 as well, so you could definitely get a defend. This is the level he's talking about in and around this area right here. He's talking about AMZN 233, which was the previous all-time high. Obviously, we've taken that and then some, Joseph, with a 235.44 all-time high now, but I could absolutely be persuaded to get in at 233 if it is to work its way down there. I'm keeping an eye, guys, on the MAG as well as these small cap gappers. As soon as something sets up, I absolutely will weasel in, but nothing to my liking right now. Danny Nahas, I hope I didn't butcher your last name. I do apologize. Talking about Palantir, Joseph, let's weasel it. Okay, now we're getting some direction. Okay, so Palantir trading at the highs right now, and it was a hell of a hold here off VWAP. 76.50 drops down into that 75. Boom, to the high side and a new high on the day off the volume weighted average price. And since it bounced off the volume weighted average price, it's been very respectful of the 10 exponential. So the retracements have all been at or above that 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. It's up 5% on the day, and we already know Palantir has some big boy tailwinds. I hate to say it, but the world is rearming. And that's kind of how it goes with, the great worlds or the great powers theory or whatever you want to call it. There's lots of different names you could call it, the multipolar world, the great powers theory. In any event, everybody's rearming. AI is going to be integral in the future of warfare. Palantir has a tailwind. Joseph, it's just about getting in at the right time.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, guys. If we can pull up my chart here real quick. And just look at this beating here. This is talking about we're taking behind the woodshed here, down about 15%, 14.5% off the all-time highs is Apple here, Sharif. Selena just bought the new iPhone 16. Already having some troubles with it.
Did that cost you any money?
No, it didn't cost me anything. Hey, I'm making sure. That's for sure. Didn't cost me anything, but I might have to weasel my way into this as well too. So here we are, down 14.5% off those all-time highs. Heading into some key support levels is Apple. Are we going to break? A lot of analysts say that this cycle for iPhone sales, this super cycle that we were supposed to be heading into, isn't going to be as much as we anticipated. So that can be a little bit alarming. And here we are, down 14.5%. I'm really looking forward to some of these this earnings report here to see how those sales are and what else they have coming in the pipeline here. Again, just to head back into that kind of, Adara was talking about that Taylor Swift analogy and the lack of innovation and kind of just refining her albums over and over again. And I think that's what the iPhone has been for the past couple years, 5 or 6 years. It's just the same device with just new upgrades. They need to come out with something new and groundbreaking. We talked about it before. I'm still bullish on this company. Whatever they do, they perfect. That's fine. But again, someone will come along with a better idea. So it's time for them to start picking up some steam, getting their head in the game, and coming up with something especially groundbreaking. Those Apple Vision Pros, and then you have the Orions from Meta. It's like, okay, you need to come out with something along those lines, something that people want, nice, easy, small, compact, and really attractive to the consumer. So Apple needs to get that ball rolling here, or do something with those Vision Pros and get them a little bit smaller, condense what they have going on, and I think that can be some groundbreaking technology. But we also have, couldn't forget the boys, another $20 super chat here. Nessa, couldn't forget the boys in the afternoon. Sharif and Joe, y'all are amazing, and I love hearing you guys. Laughter throughout my computer. Love the knowledge. Too much love. Sharif Coin and Joe Coin. Wow. Nessa.
Appreciate you,
Nessa. Thank you.
Man.
Yeah, very kind. Thank you very much.
Nessa, for that.
And I'm glad that you chime in day after day, guys. So yeah. And did you message me on X there, Nessa, for the cheat sheet? I think I might have replied to you. And thank you to all those people who messaged me on X with the kind words and got the cheat sheet. I made sure I got all that out to everybody who messaged me. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, from yesterday's lesson, there is a pivot cheat sheet that I'm giving out. Just like and subscribe to the channel, like their X channel as well too, and we can get you guys that cheat sheet on the Camarilla pivot point. So yeah, thank you very much on that, Nessa. That is my take here on Apple for right now. I think this earnings report is going to be really important for them. Let's take a look at what NVDA is up to right now, guys. Still slowly climbing. We did get a little bit of that selling pressure start to step in, but now recovering what we just gave back. I do think we climbed slightly higher. Might be more of a grind here on NVDA. The market is coming back as well to SPY off of those highs and the Qs as well too, but I think we grind to a higher day here on NVDA.
All right, man, I weaseled in to TNXP. Shout out to Darwin for bringing this to my attention. I wouldn't have had eyes on this one because it is trading south of 85 pennies, and that's where I filter. I block everything south of 85 pennies on my scanner. That's how I know about all these small cap gappers. It's my scanner up top on my top screen, which you guys can't see, which is fine. So TNXP, I'm in right now at around 29 pennies, okay? So I've set up some beak wetters at 1 penny levels. Now we know how these bad boys trade. When you're south of $1, you're trading at 4 decimal places. So now, in addition to that, you have more areas of support and resistance because there's more areas to post bids and asks. You also have, according to Luis Barbado, small cap gapper trader extraordinaire. He's always on Thursday mornings on The Morning if you want to hear what he has to say about these small cap gappers. He brought something to my attention that I didn't necessarily know, having traded small caps now for almost 4 years. That certain algorithmic programs that run and trade these small cap gappers will actually stop trading it once it breaks south of $1. And obviously, by extension of that principle, it won't trade it, period, if it's already trading below $1. So you don't have sometimes that much participation in it. So we'll see. Number one, can we take out 30 pennies? We're awfully close to that 30 penny level right now. Let's see if we can take it out. It's been a good day right now for TNXP, but right now rejecting 30 pennies. So what I've done is I've punched in, basically, it was at the high at the time, but I've also put in a dip trade at what I perceive to be an area of technical support. That's at around 28.5 pennies. Look how much we whiffled and waffled there at 28.5 pennies before we broke it decisively there at 12.20. So I'd like to see if that 28.5 pennies will act as a level of support if we are to reject 30 and then get a bit of a better price there. So that's my approach to TNXP. Here comes 30s now showing up on the ask. There's monstrous size at 30 pennies. But again, monstrous is contextual here. We're talking about a 30 penny name. So despite the fact that I see about close to about 10,000 lots, maybe a little bit more, and that's just what's posted. Keep that in context. We are talking about a 30 penny name. So when you calculate the notional, it's still not all that much. So at 30 pennies we go right now. Still waiting for the cross. Nothing doing at this moment. Now I'm seeing SANA as well come into a good technical area. SANA up 15.5%. It's rounded topping right there off that rejection at 3 2/3. It's now down into 3 1/3. That is the volume weighted average price here on SANA. And if you were to get in here, you could give yourself to, if you get in at 37s, give yourself to 30, maybe even a little bit less, 33s, because that's a little bit below VWAP. There's also price action support at 33. So if you place it at 32, price action support at 33. So place it at 32, that also works. SANA looking at possibly working its way, maybe a bounce off VWAP. We'll keep an eye on that. STAI finally getting going. So this one's a bit of a bamboozler though. So if you're looking at trading STAI, one thing you have to notice right offhand is the range per candle is awfully wide. What do I mean by that? So if you were to take the average price range per candle divided by the amount of 5-minute candles it's done on the day, I can basically bet you that it's way higher than other ones that we're trading concurrently. And the reason I say that is, look at each 5-minute candle. The range per 5-minute candle is quite wide. Well, why do you need to think about that? Why should that factor into your trading? Well, it has to factor into where you place peak wetters, your profit takers, as well as where you place stops. Why would you place a stop within an existing 5-minute candle? It could range within that 5-minute candle. You'll have to put it below the previous one, right? The previous low of the 5-minute candle, the area trough, you could call it. So that will have to factor in to your thinking there. So can I keep my eye out on SANA as well as STAI? They're looking possibly good at these levels. I'm going to have to weasel into Santa here, Joseph, because it's coming in to the volume weighted average price. What are you looking at, my man?
Yeah, I'm still just sitting in this NVDA trade here. But one thing that I want to point out here, guys, on PLTR, are we heading into potential pullback area? I'm going to be keeping an eye out for these specific signals. If we have the inability to break 77.11s and break the low around 76.82, maybe we get somewhat of a pullback here, and that can set up for a potential short. So that's what I'm keeping my eyes on right now is PLTR. The market is slightly extended from the volume weighted average price right now. So that move back or to some key support and resistance levels is something that I am going to be looking out for. But we have another $2 super chat. Ooh. Sorry if we missed this one here, Willis Addison. No, guys, Adara has spoken. I stand with Adara. And she was, and sorry, Willis is referring to the Taylor Swift comments. Much appreciated. You have the people standing with you, Adara, on that one. So we hit the law and order on that one for Willis and Adara. So again, thank you guys for that contribution. But we're going to send it off to Adara real quick, guys.
We have a new graphic here from TTV Research. It's just been posted on X, but we're going to debut and talk about it here as well, live on the show. And this was actually an idea that a viewer had yesterday afternoon on the market recap, basically suggesting that we look at how these different indices perform in February. And what I found is it's really mixed. There's no real set, we usually say it'll be down in September, the index. That's not really the case here for February. It's kind of a little bit more mixed. But what was interesting, there was a while where the Dow would outperform or underperform the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, depending on the direction. So Dow was this blue here, stronger than the other two indices in 2017 when they were all up, weaker in 2018 when they were down, same with 2020 and 2019, 2021 following this pattern as well. And then 2023, we sharply underperform. 2024, we actually don't perform as well as the SPY and the NASDAQ. Though it is worth noting the SPY and the NASDAQ were super strong in February 2024. That's the same month that NVIDIA had its epic rally. So keep that in mind. NVIDIA was not a Dow component at the time. So thinking about the different components in the different indices is probably key here as well. But regardless, interesting to take a look here at index performance in February. This is something I want to do a little bit more about in some different graphics, see how some Meg 7s perform in different months. So as always, if you guys have any suggestions for different graphics you want or different, ideas you want to see here at TTV Research on X, just let us know. Back to you.
Yeah, Kyle, you're a joker, my friend. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. You're a funny guy. He says he's back. So he got put on timeout for a little while there, Katina, man, but now he's back. Yeah, Kyle, we got to keep it PG here, my friend, as much as possible. So yeah, no worry, don't get put on timeout anymore, please and thank you, because we need your insights from a day-to-day basis. Okay, so yeah, just keep it PG, please and thank you. But here we are, guys. I was talking about PLTR. This trend seems to be too strong, and we're holding around the 76, 77 level. If we break down, then sure enough, I'm going to look to take the short on it. But again, I don't necessarily want to be shorting some of the strongest stocks in the market. I'll pull up PLTR for you guys real quick if we can pull up my chart. Thank you. We're up over 4% on the session, over 5%, sorry, there on PLTR. And yeah, I mean, not something I would necessarily want to be shorting. That 5-minute signature is really nice here. I do like that it's isolated. And okay, here we go. Now I'm just talking myself into this trade. I don't expect this thing to go all the way down to VWAP, but somewhat of a pullback here. If we break that high of that candle, then I'm going to get out of the trade. But as of right now, we're going to head south side. Maybe we'll look for 76.5s, and then we'll look to take the majority of the position off because I do think that this primary trend is extremely strong. And then someone asked me, Dubs dollars. Nightbot just posted it in the chat. So there you go. You can click that link in the chat. He just posted Bear versus Bulls as well too. And if you want that cheat sheet, just DM me, and I'll be sure to send it to you as soon as I possibly can. I know everybody that messaged me yesterday got it. So if you want it as well too, there you go. And then also don't forget to like and subscribe and add the Trader TV channel as well too, guys. So here we are. PLTR starting to pull back a little bit as the rest of the market is as well too. NVDA hovering around this range high around 146.80. Again, that was my number one pick on my daily notes. Katina Man has his sticky notes, and I do my Notion as well too. And I really refined my system this morning. I only wanted to keep an eye on two things and just hyper focus on those two. And sure enough, they worked out really well for us. So there we are. I like the hyper focus on that, and especially when you have a high level ranking catalyst like that 500 billion going into AI infrastructure. How do you not look at the ticker the next day?
Don't tell Elon that.
Yeah, don't tell Elon. Yeah,
They
don't have the money. They don't have the money.
What's going on over there, Katina Man? He's talking about the Katina Man had a $591 winner today on ARM. In case anybody was wondering. No, seriously, how many dollars? Over $20 in the money on ARM today. No, I mean seriously, dude. ARM's up 14%.
I seen where he was in, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a really nice trade.
It was
nice
ridiculous.
Trade.
And I think you had bottom wick on that, did you not? I'm asking, though. You had bottom wick.
Oh, come on, we wrote it down, baby.
And I got to tell you, Katina, man, I'm a little disappointed that we don't have the branding anymore on this. I don't know.
Yeah, what happened with that?
I don't know. I think we ran out. ARM. Funding not secured for the new sticky notes.
No, there you go.
No, seriously, though. ARM, 160 to 162 long. Where we are looking to play any dips on AI strength news. Excellent trade. Katina Man, he absolutely killed it on that. We're going to shout him out and hope he continues to print up multiple storms on that side.
Yeah, maybe we'll use our Wingstop funds to get some Katina Man branded name.
Ram, you don't get to decide what we do with Wingstop. They were earmarked for us.
No, I agree with. I take it back. No, I take it back. I want the Wingstop funds instead. Yeah, I take it back. Never mind the sticky notes. I take that one back. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're kidding. Ram, obviously.
But I mean, dude, we got like $60, $70 in Wingstop funds.
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying. You know what I mean?
There could be some other. We better get a whole plethora of dipping sauces with those, bro.
Yeah, well, I just saying Garpar, just in case if anybody's taking any notes.
All right, I want to talk about some of these outs here that we have on TNXP. Shout out to the OG Darwin for bringing this one to my attention. A couple of outs here. On it, I'm waiting still at 31 pennies. I'm still going to leave my dip trade at 28.5. I do like this area for a possible dip trade to get a better dollar cost average on the same and get more shares so far. So we're going to keep an eye out on TNXP. The issue with this one, it's having trouble above 30. So I printed at 30, I printed at 30.5. I'm waiting at 31, but it is unable to decisively stay above 30 pennies. Let's see if that continues to be the case. I'm also involved in another one over here, SANA. Only reason I'm in this, VWAP hold. So I've given it to below 33s. That's where I perceived the support to be. So we're in at 39. We're going to risk 6 pennies. Come what may, Adair's at the big desk.
I just want to bring your guys' attention to TEM. This is Tempest AI. This name IPO'd last year, so they're still relatively new to the market. They had a nice rally. I'll just move this so you could see. Beautiful push to the upside here. Yesterday, not only did they announce here that they've launched their AI-enabled personal health concierge app for patients. It's called Olivia. So AI announcement for Tempest yesterday. They also were actually picked up here by Nancy Pelosi on a options basis. So a new Nancy Pelosi trade here, TEM. Tempest AI also has a 17.8% short float. So this one coming into previous resistance around that 52 level, guys. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. What are you looking at, Joseph?
Yeah, just sitting here in this PLTR short. I was talking about it not too long ago. We had that inverted hammer with that isolated volume signature. If we break the high of day or the high of that candle, then I'm going to get out of the trade. The stock is up over 5%. I don't know if the short is ready just yet, even though the overall market does seem like it wants to pull back right now. So we're positioned really well here. If it continues to trade lower, then we'll be sitting pretty. But again, we have our definitive trade plan in. Breaks the high, we're out. If we continue lower, then 76.5s is where we're going to look to take the majority of out. John Womack, Joe W., do you ever go to Woodbine to play the ponies? My friend, I am all too familiar with that place.
I just go there for the beach. I parked there.
Did you go to the beach there? No, Woodbine. Yeah, the racetrack,
Woodbine
right, where they have carriage.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All too familiar with that place. Unfortunately, I haven't been there since they kind of redid the hotel and the casino. So it's been a couple years.
They got a full casino there.
Yeah,
don't
full
they
casino now and hotel.
Like card games and everything too?
Everything, yeah.
I heard.
I was there before they implemented some cards, but they didn't go full-blown casino like since the past couple of years.
They had slots.
They had slots and everything along those lines. But yeah, I was a big Georgian Downs guy because I lived up north in Bradford. And the day I turned 18, my friend and I, one of my best friends, we went to Georgian Downs and we were playing the ponies. Yeah, so we bet a couple exactor, box, triactors, everything. So I know all that.
The one on the 400?
Yes.
In Innisville?
Yes.
Before Barrie?
Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not too far from the 400 flea market there.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's I used to live in those places. But yeah, I haven't been in a couple of years. It's a good thought because I always watch the Queen's Plate sometimes on TV. But yeah, we'll head back there. But yeah, back to talking stocks here, guys.
Yep.
PLTR. It looks like it's going to break this high, so I'm going to have to punch out of this trade. 177.08. We're out of this. We're at a dodge, and we're going to reassess the situation and see what we got going on. We still have the majority of our NVDA trade on right now, so that's doing just fine. But again, this stock is so strong, I don't know if it's ready to turn around just yet.
All right, Joseph, we're going to have to shout out to OG Darwin again, man, because we're taking multiple prints here because of him. Look, maybe I should change my rule, guys. Maybe I should not filter out from 85 pennies anymore. It's been a really long rule, and I'm a creature of habit, so that's going to be hard for me to do. Bang! We take it out at 32 pennies. Now I'm waiting at 32 and a half. So we'll see if this one wants to keep going here. TNXP up 33% and still going. Shout out as well to 2 pumps. I'm never going to be able to live that down. Our Darwin, shout out to him. Only the OGs will know exactly what 2 pumps mean. Shout out to Darwin. Bhavin Patel, any news on TNXP? Say less, Bhavin. I will have a look right now. I didn't even bother looking because, well, the technicals don't lie. I don't see anything, my friend. In fact, I don't see anything from yesterday. I don't see anything from the day before. I'm looking all the way back. It's only technical breakouts that it's showing me. And it's like short-term bearish event, short-term bullish event, yada, yada, yada. We take it out at 32 and a half. Now we're going to wait at 33s. How many exits do I have left on this? Okay, so I've got one more here on TNXP, so I'm going to let this one cook. Let's see how high we can get. I'm going to leave my dollar cost average at 28.5 pennies, exactly where it is. This one is squeezing though, taking out 33 pennies now as we speak. I've got one out left, so I don't want to paper hand this trade and take it out too early. We're going to let this one cook and see exactly where it wants to weasel up to. TNXP up almost 40%. Let's have a look at the other one over here. SANA, we're long at 39s. It's showing me 42s. It's not really getting off the schneid though at VWAP. It's got a 4-candle holdup though as support at the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about SANA. It's up 16 3/4, 16.9% now. I'm looking for it to hold at VWAP. I perceive myself to have gotten a good entry because I'm long at 39s and I'm risking to 33s. I see price action support. Even though it's below VWAP, I see price action support at 33s. So I'm going to risk into 33s. That is going to be my move right now on SANA. STAIs continuing to put in higher highs and, well, not higher highs, but certainly higher lows. This one's up substantially, 62.5%. It's an ugly looking chart because it's so wicky, and it probably, you know, it makes it more likely you get stopped out if you don't have correct stop placement here. But what's really getting my attention is the very, very obvious pattern of higher lows. So how do we work into this without getting blown out over here? I mean, I could try to get in at 230, maybe even a bit of a deeper retracement into that VWAP at 222. I'm hesitant to use anything VWAP related because VWAP looks like the line of best fit here. It's not acting at all as an area of support or resistance. In fact, it looks like the 20 exponential, the yellow solid line on my chart, that's what looks like it's acting, that's what's acting as support in my estimation. You got to bounce several times over here off the 20, and then you have another area, a double bottom off the 20. You have a single wick there off the 20 at 12.15. So STAI, I mean, it's a big boy percentage winner on the day, but I don't feel like I've got a good read on it. Okay, TNXP just shot up into 33.25 pennies, and now it's topping tail. Big move up into about 33.5 pennies. Let's see now if this defends 30. So the only reason I had 28.5 pennies over here is because it was rejecting 28.5 pennies. So I said resistance flips to support. But it did a very similar pattern at 30 pennies where we kept rejecting that 30 penny area. So maybe I should be picking some up here off 30 pennies if I'm going to trade it like that. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit at 0.30. Oops. And I'm going to sit there for a possible dip trade here on TNXP to add a little bit more. I've only got one out left on this one, so I wouldn't mind, you know, if this area held up and I was able to get a little bit more here on TNXP. Joseph, what is going on your side of the desk?
Yeah, so we hopped back into this PLTR, Sharif. I got out slightly too early, that's okay. I thought it was gonna break, but then we rejected that high as the overall market starts to pull back in. So I wanna see if we can break down a little bit here. A pullback would be totally justifiable, especially when you're up over 5% on the session. Am I looking for the deepest pullback? No, not into that strength. But if we can get up to like 76.50s, 76, then I think that'll be reasonable for a pullback. So yeah, John Womack, good racing on Queen's Plate. I like the carriage races for sure. So yeah, I like that you know about Woodbine. I don't know if you're from are you from Ontario or are you American or where along the lines? How do you know about those places? I'm curious to know. So just tag me in the chat and we'll talk about it some more. But here we are, guys. Amazon continuing to hold the volume-weighted average price, moving really well, putting in that all-time highs is Amazon and company. So here we are, double top-ish, now holding these levels, really flat bottom here, Sharif. So some key support levels here on Amazon. Yeah, if they break to the downside, then maybe we can head back into this 5-minute, or not even this opening. Yeah, maybe we can head back into this 5-minute opening range. But again, look for some key support levels after that one. So what would your next level be? And that would be probably pre-market high. But unless we hold here and then go and test, we did have this failed high of day break as well too. So just keep an eye out on that. The market went on a monstrous run earlier in the earlier hours of the session. So this slow down momentum is what happens around these times. We're around that 1 o'clock hour, so wait until that 2 o'clock hour, and then maybe that volume in those buy programs can step back in. But as of right now, everything's looking good. We're sitting pretty in Suntan City. I think NVDA is going to go and test those highs a day at some point. It's just moving really, really slow. It's kind of reminding me of how Apple moves on most days because of that. Because the float is so large, you need so much capital to come into these underlyings in order for it to move significantly. So here we are, but now going to break some key resistance zones on NVDA. Unfortunately, I took off too much on NVDA, but that's okay. We still have a bunch of the position left. Let's see if we can go and test these highs of days.
Hive Digital Technologies, Joseph, trading on the NASDAQ under ticker HIVE, is pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining. a global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more by following them at Hive Digital Tech on social media or at their website, hivedigitaltech.com, and sign up for the Hive newsletter for updates. Shout out to the great folks there at Hive Digital. And I always like when we have a sponsor that we actually trade. Like WorkSport, for example, WKSP. We got Hive now. We got some good ones over here. Who remembers Blue Chew? Remember the chat?
Blue Chew, yeah. Blue Chew, yeah.
That always used to get some comments in the chat there, Joseph.
Yeah.
All right, so EVO hugs. Let's talk about coin. Absolutely, sir. Let's weasel into coin. I saw Brian Armstrong on CNBC yesterday. He's at Davos. He's in Davos, excuse me. At least he was yesterday. And he had some interesting comments, obviously, about where he feels the future of Bitcoin is. Obviously, he was asked about Gary Gensler and, you know, him leaving. Obviously, he didn't have anything flattering to say about Gary G. But let's look at coin. Coin, to me, is a little, I don't want to say consolidative, because it's got a 286 low and a 298 high. So there's definitely, you know, $12 worth of range there. But it's very wavy to me. It's, you know, it's consolidative. I'm just going to go back to that word. Consolidate. I don't like the way it looks at the moment. I got to tell you the truth. The break-even point today is around $294. We're there right now. You could try to make the argument this looks like a bull flag, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe anything above 295. If we can get a break of 295, this area range over here, it looks like it's showing 295 maybe as a bit of a resistance level. Personally, on coin today, I'd be getting in at the lows as a long or the highs as a short. It doesn't show me a discernible trend. In fact, yesterday was kind of the same business. We went red to green yesterday. We went green to red to green. So it was very, very unpredictable, very hard to trade. So I don't have a good entry on coin. I do apologize about that, but you can't have a good look on everything. Sharat Rahman, can you give your thoughts on NU? Let's have a look at Nucor. New Holdings, excuse me. So this looks really good. Okay, so that's a big move up, and then you've got higher lows and higher highs. NU is the ticker. It's up 5 1/3. Let me just go in over here. NU. I'm just going to have to manage, I think, this trade on TNXP because it's coming down. But Nucor, great hold-off VWAP. I possibly would get in at that $12 area. Look, there's a bit of a consolidation area top right around 12 bucks. It's gotten to 12.15. Personally, it's either going to be $11.95 VWAP for me or that $12 area top. Like you can see the wicks all get above 12, but look at the closing prints, all at or just north of 12 at 12.01. So to me, a dip trade at 12, 12.01, maybe even front run it at 12.02, that's the move. Otherwise, it's an $11.95 or a VWAP hold. That's how I personally would play it. All right. So we did well here on TNXP. I put in a dip trade at 30 pennies. It's going to have to hold up above 28.5 pennies over here, or we're not going to give it much room at all. I only had one more out, so I want to work in over here to get some more shares. But the technical level is going to have to hold. Now, if the 30 penny level gives way, then what I'm looking at is a hold of 28.5 pennies. That's how we maintain the higher low situation. I don't want to be trading this if it's printing lower lows. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one and make sure that we don't give back the profits we've made. The other one, SANA, I've been holding this at VWAP on long 39s. I'm waiting at 45s. Nothing doing. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 candle hold up above VWAP on the 5-minute chart on SANA. However, it's not forthcoming in its move up. So I am a little concerned about this one. We're going to pack our patience, see if we can extract some profits. Back to TNXP. Here down it goes below 30. This could be trouble here. I'm not going to give it that much room on the reload, Joseph. What are you looking at, my man?
Hey, good stuff there, my guys. You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at the Playmaker poll, and I'm looking at the votes. We don't got enough votes. We got 7 minutes, and we need 100. Let's get those votes up to 1,000, folks. We need that participation from you guys, especially with the playmaker and everything with the rundown as well too. We did fantastic on the rundown with over 1,000 votes, but now let's get the playmaker poll up to 1,000 votes. We know how Kyle feels about it. We already know we're going long, so maybe we can get that. We can
Kyle's
get that
going
other
long?
party. No, Kyle is not going. Kyle is not going long. But the playmaker poll seems like it is, and maybe one day we will finally take a short on the playmaker poll, but it's not going to be today, Sharif. So guys, please make sure you get those votes in. Helps the channel out a lot, helps us out. Make sure, and it makes us know that, like, hey guys, we like doing this. We want to continue it. So get those votes in. We have about 900, maybe a little bit more now. So 944. So only 60 more to go. We get that 1,000. We like those 4-figure days. But here we are, guys, in some NVDA. Sorry, I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to sneeze.
Yeah. No worries. We're keeping an eye.
Oh, false sneeze. False
sneeze?
Yeah, you know those ones? Yeah, those are the worst. But yeah, anyways, guys, make sure you get those votes in. But here we are in some NVDA starting to break. Unfortunately, I took a big chunk off right here, but that's okay. I thought we were going to start pulling back considering at where the market is sitting at right now. But here we are climbing higher and higher. I mentioned that it's going to be somewhat of a slow grind to these highs of days in NVDA unless that volume steps in. And with this thing, I would not be surprised if it did at some point. And with that, it's probably going to drag the rest of the market up with it. But let's see what Adair is up to.
Netflix all day with the fact that they had, of course, their blowout earnings. But there's another streamer on watch, and it's Disney, DIS here to the upside, seeing apparently that their Texans versus Chiefs NFL game, which they, I guess, streamed, delivered apparently 33.8 million viewers. So 33.8 million people watching Disney's Texans v Chiefs NFL game. So DIS now, another streamer on watch in addition to day one earnings for NFLX, guys. Back to you.
What a monster that thing is, bro.
The Netflix, man. Yeah, we were talking about it.
It's down almost 4% since the bell rung, though.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it went up over like 20% or 15%. Yeah, I mean.
I was at the gym yesterday. I was like, oh, let me check, see what Netflix is doing. I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought it was an error. I thought I was looking at the wrong thing.
Really?
I'm like, what? It's over 1,000? Did I put in the wrong stock?
And I heard Katina Man mention, he's like, they were looking at about an 8 or 9% expected move. And
that was the expected?
Yeah, and
so
it
exceeded that.
And that's one thing, guys. Remind me as well, too, because I should be doing this with you guys more often. When we have big reports, just remind me, just like someone in the chat or options trader, just be like, hey, Joe, what's the expected move on that? Because I think that's a good statistic to know, especially if you're playing the at-the-money straddles and strangles. I think you need to know because you need that move to be exceeded if you're going to be profitable on those types of systems. And I know that a lot of people in the chat trade options, so just remind me ever so kindly, just like, hey, Joe, reminder, what's the expected move here on X underlying, okay? And we'll be sure to get into that. But again, I'll try to remember myself. But here we are, 992. I like the year 92. What I was born, taking a page out of Sharif's book.
Hey.
But yeah, good look there. Let's pull up some PLTR as we're starting to break down, guys. Stuck to the plan. Once it broke, maybe this was a little bit early of a breach, but we got out and then we got a much better price as well too. So let's see how deep this pullback can be. I told you what I'm aiming for, 76.50s, and then we're gonna look to take the majority off. I don't want to short too strong of a stock. But again, if it's going to break down, we're going to wait and hold for those targets.
All right, man. STAI is really going here. Aggressive move up. This is the one that has a very wide range per candle. So I was really hesitant to trade it. I'm in here. I'm in with small size. I'm still going to look to DCA into this, okay? Because I don't know. I just don't feel it's going to be as directional. Possibly now that it's kind of acting in this way where the tape is moving aggressively. This is usually where it starts squeezing. But if it doesn't, I've got a possible dip trade over here to defend that 255 to 260 level. And then I also like it at around 245 because that's the consolidation area top, at least how I perceive it on the 5 minutes. So if this one breaks down, I've already put my stop out for this one because I don't want to be caught with a huge drop down. And that's what it's done. It's been very wide range per candle. That concerns me, especially if you're punching it at highs. So that is the look right now. SANA, we got a print here. at 45s, but this is really not getting off the schneid, as my friend Neil likes to say, off VWAP all that well. I mean, it's a few pennies off it, but not really moving aggressively. In fact, as I look at the volume is a little bit light on it as well right now on SANA. I'm still holding that piece at 30 that I added into here on TNXP. We only had one more out on this bad boy. It did hold VWAP, and now it's kind of locked in a range between VWAP at around 28.5 pennies and 30 pennies. I'm talking about TNXP. Added at 30 pennies because, well, I only had one more out. So that's the look right now. So we're involved in 3 names. STAI, my humble submission, the most risky out of all of them. A few reasons. Up big on the day. We punched in at highs. The range per candle is really wide. And, well, we got a bit of a topping tail right now into about 80 pennies, 79 technically. So in small size over here, looking to possibly dollar cost average to build a better, bigger position so we can trade this successfully over here, up 83%. And if I didn't already, let me give you the details again. The market cap, 53.25 million with the latest move up, with volume of around 32 million shares traded so far. The float is 2.5 million shares, so quite small. And STAI is the one we don't have a short float for. Okay, here we go again into the highs. 79s now showing up, rejecting again. 80s. 81s, I'm waiting at 82. You know where I'm waiting. I'm waiting at 82. So let's layer the orders now, because if this squeezes, I want to catch it, because sometimes it doesn't hang out in the level for all that long. It's having trouble with 81s for whatever reason. Zigging and zagging right now is STAI. Let's see if it can take out 81s. Having a whole lot of trouble with that level. So packing my patience on this one, and I'm trying to execute my plan the best that I can by getting the better price if this one comes down. If it doesn't, we're going to take out the small position that we have. And yeah, we'll have to deal with that, obviously, not having the full position there. Coffee Trader says, look at BLBX again. You're not wrong, Coffee. I saw when you tagged me before and I responded to you. I don't like it, brother. And the reason I don't like it is because it's hard to gauge what this one is up to. I mean, it's a little bit below VWAP. It's a little bit above VWAP. I don't like that. Hold a key area of resistance, and I'll base my trade off it. I really don't know what this one wants to do. In fact, as I look at it now, even though it's above VWAP, look at the plethora of lower highs on this one. Area crest, area crest, area crest. So I am a little bit hesitant to want to trade this. I get your point, though. I'm going to try... I'm going to keep it on the side chart. If it sets up in the right way, certainly be interested in trading it, but it's got to set up right. But shout out to you, my man. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Adara is at the big desk.
Take a look here at crypto, but in the meantime, we are waiting here for this 20-year bond auction. If I happen to see this, if this comes through, if it populates for me before this segment ends, I will let you guys know. I'm also seeing some news here quickly before we get to crypto. Delta Airlines apparently canceling roughly 400 mainline and connection flights before noon on Wednesday due to some Gulf Coast region having some snow issues. So snow causing cancellation of apparently 400 Delta flights. Now, it's also interesting, too, we do have on watch here the crypto space. The CEO of Binance here, named Richard Tang, was making some comments apparently on the crypto space, and he actually praised what Donald Trump has had here, basically saying that he's feeling bullish with the industry under Trump, and says that his embrace of the industry and his intention to create a national Bitcoin reserve, which, again, we haven't heard anything of since the inauguration, is apparently going to be a good sign. Richard Tang saying, quote, Trump wants to build the U.S. into the crypto capital of the world. So looks like this is not just a great look for Trump. It looks like America is really being viewed now as a great place for crypto as a whole. So those are some comments that are coming in from CEO of Binance, Richard Tang. As Sharif mentioned, we did have Brian Armstrong there at Davos as well. So this is also comments coming from Davos with a lot of financial CEOs here as well coming at Davos. So keep an eye on some of these related names and plays. Either way, not much to say here in Bitcoin other than we are continuing this uptrend off of generally holding the support here at that 91,000. I would actually say this is a bit of a double bottom as well if you zoom in even closer. We're, to be clear, within an uptrend, but that 91,000 bounce, with the exception of that push into 89,000 very briefly, has shown a lot of support for BTC. We'll take a look at ETH as well because we don't look at it as much. ETH, this is the election AVWAP. Not looking as good here, especially compared to Bitcoin near all-time highs. What a double top here for Ethereum at 4,100. Lower highs, lower lows. Maybe, though, trying to make a higher low here We also did get that 20-year bond auction, 4.9% here for the high yield above the previous print of 4.686%. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that,
you,
Adara.
yeah. You know what time it is, my guy?
Yes, it is. I'm just setting up a couple of orders.
Jeez.
Joseph, let me throw those on, then I'll be back.
For the spiled one there, are you throwing? Oh, no, something else?
No, just a small cap.
Okay,
All right, let's weasel on into the Playmaker poll, baby. Okay, in case you don't know what that is, guys, every day at 1 o'clock, we enter a trade on the SPY, and we put a $1 stop and a $2 profit taker. By 2 o'clock, we check to see how the Playmaker poll is doing. And as you see there, we chart all our data to see whether, where this whole setup is positive or negative. And we named it after one of the OGs of the chat, the Playmaker. He's no longer with us. May he rest in peace. But a fantastic guy and a good friend of the show's. So we named it after him in case you were wondering what this whole thing is about. Just thought I'd update you there.
Nice.
All right,
Good
Joseph,
there,
let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
All right, we are going in 607.23.
607.23.
We're going to take it all out, 606.23.
606.23.
And we're going to take profits at 609.23.
Okay. So, sorry, our losses. Yeah, sorry, I was 607.23, 609.
Yeah.
609.23. Beautiful, good stuff there. Time in, guys, 104. And there's that, guys. We're going long once again. And you know what, guys? Look at the amount of sample set. Look at the data that we have collected now. 29 total sessions that we've been doing this. This is kind of what tomorrow's lesson is going to be about, is collecting that data and refining that system. Sharif, if we didn't have a 50% win rate or anything along those lines, or we had a negative equity curve, we could just essentially throw this out the window and say, you know what? From 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, this trade is not working. This is the whole point of that, and you need to implement that within your trading, refining your trading strategy. If you really, really want to hone in on hitting those high accuracy rates and defining what you're good at, this is such a good method. Even using these basic metrics that we are, it can give you a lot of information. Am I good at this time? Where am I most efficient at? Share size, ticker size, level of catalyst, etc. And that's everything we're kind of touch on when constructing a trading playbook. And I think this is one of the key fundamental aspects of that. So here we are, guys. We're in that trade, the Playmaker poll. Let's see how we work out today. But we have some other things in the chat. I know a lot of people are asking me about gaming. Nick Diaz did. Do you have any relations to Nate Diaz? Or yeah, well, Nick is the older brother, so if that's Nick,
True.
And Nick being here, and then maybe he has some relations to the Diaz brothers. But here we are, guys, on PLTR. And speaking of playbook, and this is what I mentioned not too long ago, I really, really don't like shorting strong stocks, okay? So again, this is just my preference. This is just a rule that I've come up with myself and realized, hey, I'm not that good at it. But guys, I can't really be too upset with myself because those signals were there, all right? So we had an inverted hammer at an extreme high and an isolated volume signature. That will signal for me to take this trade. It took the trade, stuck to the plan. It didn't work out. All right, on to the next one. As Obi would say, what is the next trade? And that's how you have to look at it. You can't get too uptight about these things because it's the name of the game, and that's how these things work, okay? So just keep that in mind. Nothing is 100%, and you have to have the ability to accept that. But one thing that is continuing to work with us and is a really slow burner here, Sharif, is NVDA. I'll fix these dark pools for you guys momentarily, but we're still holding on to the majority of this position. And let's see how it works out. I do think that we are going to grind higher to that 147.50 level, and that's going to be one of my primary price targets.
All right. Okay. So just keeping an eye here on STAI. I'm waiting at 65s, just waiting for it's at 65s, but it's not crossing. Okay. There we go. Now I'm waiting at 69 for the next level. Then I'm waiting at 74s. Let's see if this one wants to hold above that $0.50 on STAI. It's again, I mean, I knew this was going to be a tough one to trade because the range per candle is so wide. It has, it's volatile. And that's what really range per candle denotes, the volatility there. So we'll wait to see if we can get that print at 69. We did defend the $0.50 I perceive to be quite well. Whether or not we continue, an entirely different story. We're waiting at we're printing 68s now with not that much size posted on the gateway right on at that level 68. So let's see if we can work up into that 69 penny level. The high of the day, I should mention, is 81 pennies on STAI. It's a good look. There we go. Now we got the print at 69s. Let's see if this one wants to squeeze above 74 pennies, selling off a little bit with a bit of a sell coming in at that 10 penny level. I'm talking about STAI again. Now, I'm looking at over here TNXP. And I am a little concerned. So I added to this one at 30. I only had one out left. Now we're breaking down below 30s and we're hanging out at 29s. And I've still got that dip trade at around 28.5 pennies. And I don't know how I feel about that anymore because this feels awfully flat bottom breakish where we have that huge topping tail candle into 33.25 pennies. And now we're below 29. We are above VWAP. That's really the only thing that's keeping me optimistic about the trade. But here we go. It's dipping down. We just got filled at 29. So it's going to have to hold this area. Otherwise, I'm gone. What's our average price now? It is 29s on it. So we'll have to take out some profits there if we can de-risk. Let's see if this holds. 28 pennies is my line in the sand. It will have to hold above there on the ask. Otherwise, I'm gone. Zeno, here it comes into 28 pennies. Looks like we are going to get stopped out of this bad boy as it's now breaching the volume weighted average price. Let me just throw out my stop, make sure that I'm going to send it to you for a second while I get my stop ready.
Absolutely. Okay, Dipash, sorry, brother. I know you've asked me multiple times to take a look at Rivian. Very kindly as well too. You weren't spamming the chat, so I'm gonna pull up Rivian for you. I know you mentioned a couple things in some point, dude. Trump EV sanctions, bro. You forgot to talk. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we will look at Rivian for you real quick. This isn't a company I would necessarily look to be participating in. I think this is a conversation for Sharif and Randy. I know they can get really deep into the EVs. And here we are. Let's zoom in and see what we got. But actually, hold on, wait a second. We're going to stick to this zoom out and see what we have from a daily perspective. And we're running into some key support levels. Can it break down? Absolutely. Rivian is a stock that I necessarily haven't been trading, even when it's, I guess other than when it's in play. But I'm just not in sync with it, and that's fine. There's other things that we can trade. But let's zoom in and see what we got going on. Now starting to slowly curl over here, Sharif, putting in that turtle shell price action, roll over, and now heading towards the low a day. Are we going to go and test it at this point? I mean, we only have about 3 hours left in the session, so excuse me, a lot can happen in that time. Keep that in mind. But am I going to be in Rivian for the long run? I don't think so. I mentioned before, talking about, when Sharif asked me about Elon or Sam, I'm like, well, I don't really love the vehicle space, automotive industry. But again, Elon is kind of an outlier of that. You can classify it as more of a data collection as well too, and kind of an AI play. As for Rivian, that's not something I'm going to be looking to participate in. I would rather allocate my capital to something else. I don't know how you feel about Rivian, Sharif.
Look, I like Rivian. Not right now, though. I need to see the R2. And you could say to me, Sharif, you can't invest in the future when it comes to pass. You got to invest for the future. So I don't know, man. If the reason I'm holding off is because I don't know if they can scale in the way that they're saying they're going to scale. There's only been really one American company who's been able to scale EVs. It's Tesla. The other really is BYD, and they're a Chinese company. And I'm talking about scale, not your like Neos, your XPEV, your Li Autos, and Polestars. No, I mean scale en masse. And there's only two of them in the world. That's what I perceive anyway.
It's BYD and Tesla.
That's really what it is.
So in the world of EVs, where are you ranking Rivian? So we'll call BYD. Is that?
Yeah,
so
that's a great question, dude. And can I say something?
Yeah.
Most EVs, the EV companies, will put their best foot forward first. So they'll have their most expensive model, like the Model S, the Model X. Rivian's case, the R1T, R1S. Yeah. And then once they establish brand loyalty, they get a couple of dollars in their account. They expand. They look for that cheaper model, the one that's more marketable to the masses, so to speak. So Rivian is still in that first phase. They aspire to have the R2. They aspire to have the R3, but all these things are just planned.
Okay.
We know that Tesla can print or can manufacture 500,000 Model Ys, 500,000 Model 3s. That is not in question.
Not an issue,
and now
yeah.
we're talking about the Model Q or whatever they're going to call it, the Model 2. And so it's like, to me, why would I put my money in Rivian when there's,
Right. So
when there's this
when
one?
you got other big names like you mentioned, BYD,
Like Lucid as
and
well,
Lucid,
big bags.
Lucid,
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
So yeah, so I mean, so I guess
Kinda how I see
from a
it.
ranking standpoint, you got Tesla, BYD,
Love the cars.
Lucid, and then maybe Rivian at that point.
Yeah, I don't know if I,
Rank
it's something
them?
like that.
Something along those
and I
lines.
just want to make very clear that I think Rivian's cars are amazing. I told you
They
my
look
brother-in-law,
great. They look, yeah.
he had it. He was at the house last week, and it's an amazing car.
Yeah.
And no,
they look amazing, absolutely. But yeah.
no spence expired.
Yeah.
Clearly, you can tell just by the quality of the vehicle. That doesn't mean they don't make money. That's the thing, right? So,
I mean, like with some, I think with the automotive industry, some models only have a certain lifespan. Like, you know what see what I'm getting at? Like the Mercury, and like I remember the Hummer was the coolest thing on the planet, and then now it's slowly dying off and not as innovative. Like, I mean, they got the EV Hummer now, but I don't know who would want that thing.
I like
or
them,
an
but they
actual-
weigh a zillion pounds.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly,
just
right?
crazy.
So they probably don't have much mileage per battery charge on that. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough space. I don't love the automotive industry, as I mentioned before. Tesla, I think, is an outlier just because I think it's solely a data collection company as well too. So
point.
other than that, I think I would look to allocate my capital somewhere else.
Adair's at the big desk.
We have here on Watch Apple. Apparently, here seeing that Samsung here has launched its latest smartphone. This is the Galaxy S25 series. This has not only a custom chip, but it also has AI features or boosted AI features. So it does look like it's coming after Apple's crown a little bit. We know Apple's talked a lot about its Apple Intelligence with certain analysts, including Ming-Chi Kuo and some other figures from different firms, basically saying that Apple Intelligence is not necessarily the draw that people thought it might be. So with that in mind, Samsung coming out here with its own AI-powered phone, guys. Back to you.
I'm coming out with an AI-powered phone now.
I'm pretty sure they already had AI in their software, but I think maybe the hardware spec. We'll have to Google that. I saw you guys chiming in about Samsung in the chat. Obviously, that's not traded on the North America. I think it might be on the OTC.
I think so.
Is it on OTC?
Something along those lines.
Yeah, but it's not something I'm going to weasel into. But yeah, keep an eye out on Samsung if you have permissions to trade those markets. Otherwise, if you're on the Kospi, you can get into that as well. I'm pretty sure that's the main listing in Korea. So we're going to keep an eye out on that one. All right. I'm still involved in these names right now. I got stopped out of STAI, so this one will be the first loser on the day. It didn't hold that $0.50 level, and so I want no more smoke with this one, even though it has VWAP at 234. So I should have been more alive to that. It looks like it is a VWAP bounce at the moment. Yeah, that was a mistake by me. That's an oversight there. I should have been more alive to that key area of technical support and placed my stop or a dollar cost average to take advantage of that. I didn't, and I paid the price. First loser on the day, STAI. Going to keep an eye out on it. If it sets up again, definitely weasel back into this one. Still involved in Sana as it holds VWAP for the umpteenth time, but having a whole lot of trouble for whatever reason with 45 pennies, not even the $0.50. So the volume really dropping off here on Sana, but we've got a decent price at VWAP, and I've got a clear out at 333. So we'll see if this one wants to move up, possibly squeeze into that high of the day. Involved still with TNXP. Looking to print over here, we're long 29 pennies. It's at 29.5. Let's see if we can extract some profitability on this one at the third of $1. We'll layer orders on this bad boy to see if we can take advantage of a move up here on TNXP. Now, I'm also looking, somebody was mentioning this to me earlier, BLBX, we had a good trade on this one to start the show, but now I perceive it to have enough price action here above VWAP that we can maybe start using VWAP as the lower end of the range for a possible flat top breakout through 390. So here's the range that we've established. Essentially, since we took VWAP at 1235, it's now 117. We've been above the volume weighted average price, and we've been using it as support. However, we've been locked in a range with about 390 to the high side and VWAP here about 355, maybe a little bit higher than that. So if you can get in something possibly at VWAP, you can hold this one for a flat top break and maybe even a squeeze above 4 and then maybe to test those high a day at 496. So good look right now for BLXB as it's holding up nicely above the volume weighted average price. Pack my patience, see what we can do with that one. Just looking up my top screen over here to see if there's any new small cap gappers that are making their way onto my scanner midday. Nothing really that's awfully pleasing. I'm just having a look at some over here. There's this new one called GRAL, lightly traded, but trading at the highs. Yeah, that's not really my cup of tea. We're going to let that one, leave that one alone. Okay, let's see what people are talking about over here. Nimit, my man Nimit's back in the house. SOBR, moving to $1, but low volume. It was a runner in the past, so waiting for it to cross $1. Can you please review when you can? Thank you. Absolutely, Nimit. Always polite, class act as always. Let's look at Sober. I remember this one. We've traded this one before. Good breakout there, Nimit, into the dollar just as we loaded it up. Let's put Sober up here. Yeah, it's at 101. Good call out, Nimit. Perfect timing. Big volume on that one. This candle has about 144,000 shares in one 5-minute candle. It's not the biggest volume, obviously, for a $1, sub $1 name. Here is the daily on Sober. So you can see it's a former runner because it's had these outsized days in the past. And that's what I look for to see if this one, not the daily chart, obviously we keep an eye out on the daily to see if it's bullish or bearish, but what I look for with these small cap gappers, since I'm not going to invest in them, is if they had a history of running quite aggressively. So I'll submit to you back in October, we had a big day here on Sober, about a 300% day. The next day we had something akin to that from the top to bottom. The next day we were down 67%. So this one can absolutely run. I'm not sure if it has a catalyst today. Nothing that I see over here in terms of a catalyst for Sober, but definitely breaking through that $1 area, Nimit. It's on its way here. Good look. Up into 103, so it's continuing to go. The volume not dropping off. 17.5% here, Nimit, on Sober. Keep my eye on this one. It could be an interesting trade off that $1 area. Tisha saying, I've traded a lot in the past. Yeah, I could kind of tell it was a former runner, Tisha, just based on how it's traded before in those outlying candles. Adair's at the big desk.
Yeah, I was going to say here, Sober is a prior runner. I recognize the ticker right away. Not a ton of volume on the day. They're only about 1.15, now 1.18 million shares traded on the day. 276,000 share float from what I'm seeing. Here's the thing. I do not know, there's different short floats. I am seeing a 97% short float on Trade Ideas. So SOBR seems like it's very heavily shorted. This is one that tends to get a lot of social media attention as well. And it is worth noting, be very careful here. This 15-minute candle, which is by far the largest of the day, only has 182,000 shares of volume involved. So volume is very light, tiny float, and monstrous short float. Nothing short of monstrous there. So be very cautious with Sober safe, guys. Back to you.
So you shouldn't be drinking on that one, right?
You shouldn't be drinking, yeah. Don't drink. Don't drink.
That was really bad. I apologize for that, for everybody. Appreciate you, Adara.
Adara like that. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Well, she is the punt queen.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
if you get approval,
when we get her approval,
exactly.
Kind of important.
So,
I seek Adara's approval for punts. I do.
You have to. She wrote the book. But Sharif, here we are. We were talking about Amazon not too long ago, and if it were to break some of these key support levels, that there could be potentially some more downside. And sure enough, here we are continuing through those levels that we marked out as a unit not too long ago, and now going to go run into those pre-market highs. I think that's going to be the next target, sitting around 230, 280 on Amazon. Considering how we had the inability to construct a new high here and then forming those lower highs on the way down, making that ascending triangle type of pattern. So we'll draw a line here, guys, from those highs and across what we have here with multiple touches. And then that's where you kind of get that wedge-like pattern. So that's why I decided to hop out of the NVDA trade completely. And as we start to pull back, we've been stopped out of our SPY trade, I'm pretty sure as well too. I'd have to check the numbers. But here we are, PLTR thesis starting to work out, but I'm not in it right now, guys. I took 2 stabs at it with the market pulling back down now. So, oh well, it is what it is, and we can't complain about it. If we hit 76.50s on PLTR, then sure enough, we just have to collect that data, see where we went wrong, refine the system, and then look to improve on that front. But a lot of people are talking about Google, and we're not too far off the all-time highs on Google. We know Amazon constructed a new all-time high, and then we did yesterday. Oh, okay, wow, I didn't even recognize that on GOLGL, Alphabet 202. putting in all-time high is Google, but now pulling back, forming this really weird consolidation phase. Not too sure how I feel about this one, Sharif. Kind of sitting on a ledge, so I think there can be a pullback here, or we just go parabolic after the earnings report, because I love this company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic holding for the long term, and I will continue to allocate shares into this position because I think they're just dominant in so many spaces. Waymo, Willow now as well too. What else do we got? YouTube. This thing it's a monster. It's a beast in itself. So yeah, I love Google's.
All right, BLBX is flying, guys. What a breakout through the flat top at 395. Great move up, but a huge topping tail candle into about 4 2/3. What a move here for BLBX. Look, I'm looking to dip trade it off 4, okay? I'm going to have to keep a tight stop, though, so I'm putting my order at 405. If it comes back down there, I'd like to pick it up, but I'll give it to 88s because you've got to give this one a little bit of room because 4 is going to be an interesting level over here. So that's what we'll do. I'm going to throw that order out there. Not bad. Not bad. We'll see if this one wants to get filled. BLBX, what a move up. What an aggressive move up over here. Good look. Let's see if it comes back into 4. I'm still waiting on STAI for a move up off the volume weighted average price. It looks like it came into my level, but it did not cross. So I'll pack my patience there. Let's have a look at the other one over here. Here we go. SANA finally getting away from that volume weighted average dang price. So we're going to take a bit of a fill there. Let's see what this one does. And we could possibly weasel up above the $0.50. I would just be pleased as dang punch off that level. VWAP is where I got in here on SANA. It held VWAP for basically the entire show. Now it's just got to move above the $0.50. Keep your eye out on this one. Still involved in several names. I'm talking about TNXP. Still above VWAP on TNXP, so it's keeping me in the trade. We're break even on it right now, 29 pennies. It's at 29 pennies. But the thing is, this one has a bit of a move down. It's showing me lower lows, lower highs. The only thing keeping me in this trade is the fact that it's above VWAP. So if we get a curl, great. If we don't, whatever, that's trading there. So keep an eye out on that one. Let's move back here. SANA, there we go, through the $0.50. Now I'm going to set up at 55s finally here on SANA. This one takes forever. What's happening?
Amazon's tanking.
Amazon's tanking, says Joseph. All right, we'll keep an eye out on that. We're going to send it to Adair at the Big Dash. She's got something for us.
Viewer, Google here, GOOGL here. CNBC reporting that the company has agreed to a new $1 billion investment here in Anthropic. Earlier today, CNBC reported that Meta is investing here in Databricks. So after we got that massive Project Stargate announcement yesterday with that $500 billion AI infrastructure announcement, now we have reports of 2 separate Mag 7 names investing in 2 separate AI companies, guys. Interesting stuff.
Thank you very much for that, Adara.
Yeah. All right.
What do you got, Joseph?
Yeah, we got another $5 super chat from Hobo Trader. Sorry if this is an FAQ. Don't worry about that. Don't ever apologize for asking me a question. Yeah, don't. Just, Joe, if you were, just ask, man. Because if you're asking the question, then multiple people, numerous amounts of people probably have the same question they want to ask. So, Joe, if you were following the Playmaker with 0 DTE, where would you place your strike for call/put? I would buy at the money. All right, so let me pull up my options chain for you right now to see what the SPY is sitting at. And we're going to pull up the 0 DTE. And then we're going to look at what the at the money is trading at right now. Okay, so SPY, here we are, SPY. And here we are, and let's take a look at the implied volatility too, because that will determine if the market is going to be overcharging us or not. So, okay, it's really low here, 13% IV. So if I were to look at the VIX, I would assume it's down as well too today. So 0 DTE, 13.1% at the money implied volatility. We're sitting at 607.08, so I would buy exactly that 607 strike price. Right, that's right at the money. Our delta going to be sitting at right at 0.5. So there you go. For every $1 move in the underlying contract, we will now be raising that contract $50. And then with that, I won't look at the gamma because that will change as well too. So I would buy that at the money. Good question, Hobo Trader.
Yeah.
Feel free to ask anything at any time.
Well, you know,
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. You don't ask for where I live.
You give an invite like that, then Big Smile comes
Yeah,
in
yeah,
with a
Big
super
Smile.
chat,
Yeah.
and he's a liability. Let's call it spade.
He was on timeout. Kyle was back. He was for 300 seconds, and he's like, "I'm back." And now he's just trying me and Joe. And look at the put side. Why would I do that why would I do that, Kyle? But look at the put side.
Get it, Kyle.
Hey, and again, says, okay, hold my beer. Oh, okay. I thought you're the same person as Hobo Trader. I'm gonna say, are you Canadian? Just continuously saying sorry. But
I know that's a very Canadian thing. Love that. All right, guys, we're involved in STAI. Got a print there at 49s. Now I'm waiting on the north side of 50. So it's gonna have to clear 50, and if history is any guide, we've rejected off 50 multiple times on STAI. We've been above 50 pennies multiple times, but you can see so many wicks, at least on the 5-minute chart, that go into 50 and then reject. So we're long at 35s. Let's see if we can continue riding up here, 37s, or sorry. Let's see if we continue to ride up to the high side. I'm also involved in SANA. And I just got the print there at the $0.50. Now I'm waiting at 55s. So I want to see if this one can clear 50. So a lot of resistance right now at the $0.50, both on STAI and SANA. And I'd like to, this one, we've got a good price on SANA. We're at VWAP, so I've got a very clear area that if this one fails, and let me tell you, I don't like the volume on SANA. So if it fails, I've got a very clear area. That's $3.33. We're in at $3.39. So we have to risk about 6 pennies on this bad boy over here. Let's see what it does. Okay, STAI above the $0.50 now. And now I'm waiting, I believe, at 53s, 52s now, showing up on the ask. Let's see if it can cross to the north side of that and then continue to run. 281, I should let you guys know, is the high of the day on STAI. Let's see if we can work our way up there, or at least somewhere near there, and then we can take some prints on the way. So probably behooves me to throw some more prints on there. So I'm going to wait at the north side of 50 right now, rejecting off 53. So I put in an order at 58 there. Let's see if it can first fill the 53 order, and then we can talk about the 58 order. BLBX, I've still got my dip trade set up on this bad boy over here. And it's going unfilled. So this one dipped into 409. I was waiting at 405s. Look at it move back into 403s. I was specifically, the reason I was waiting at 405 because I was trying to front run the support level that I perceived to be at $4. So we had a whole bunch of whiffle and waffle consolidation at 390. I said, look, just jump into 4 and then you can give it to high 80s, 388, 387, somewhere around there. But it's not giving me the opportunity to get in. I don't want to chase it. 410 or 409 was the lowest it could go, at least from what I see over here on the 1 minute. It's still kind of bull flagging a little bit, if I can kind of say that. The big move up, then the sideways consolidation. We'll have to see if this ends up being a bit of a compression pattern. We can try to get in at the low end of the range. So that's what I'm looking at there. Shout out to Coffee Trader. I appreciate you for the nice compliment. I aspire to be better every day with these small cap gappers. They are a bamboozling bunch because that's just their nature. So trade them with caution, and I always stress that every day because you want to be around. You want to be around to trade more, and the only way to do that is to make sure money stays in your account. All right, we got the print there on STAI at around 55s. Now I'm setting up at 58 so on this bad boy. It's got a 281 high of the day. So let's see if this one wants to squeeze. How many more outs do we have on STI? Oh, we got plenty. Okay, so let's set up in the low 60s, and I think I'm going to wet my beak over here with another out just to de-risk a skosh. All right, back now to BLBX because it's kind of, it's coming close, maybe into that 405s. Do I have a stop ready for this bad boy? Probably, yes, I do, BLBX. So I'm giving this one to 88s. Kind of like what I said there. If we move into 405s, I'm going to give this to below 90s just to give it a bit of room, okay? I can't expect it to hold to 4 at 4 on the penny because, well, it's up 147%. It's awfully volatile. It's unlikely to do that, in my estimation anyway. So I've given it to around 390. 390 is the flat top. The reason I have my order above 4 is because I'm thinking 4 might be psychological support over here. So that's kind of why I've put my order at 405. That's the move there. All right, so that's it. That's all I've got. Oh, TNXP finally curling. Okay, I see you, TNXP. Let's see if we can weasel on over here. Still south, though, of that 30 penny area. But what I do like on TNXP, at least for now, is the higher low situation and the fact that we're above VWAP. So I've layered my orders out on this one. If I can, if it squeezes, I hopefully will be able to take advantage of, a squeeze up and a temporary price action into the 30s by having these resting orders. That is kind of my move. That's why I always throw resting orders out there, because I always say they hang around in a price level for not that long. They're quick ups and quick down, Joseph. So that's what I'm looking at right now. We'll see if we can keep going over here. Tisha says, look at GELS. Absolutely, Tisha, because Tisha's always trading these small cap gappers. So let's see what she has to say about GELS. Nimit, by the way, sober, bounced off a buck. So that might be an interesting one here, Nimit. I just had that one up on the side chart. I glanced quickly at it. All right, Tisha, GELS, not to my liking. My rules, Tisha, it's got to be above the pre-market high, and the pre-market high is here, 335. So 2 rule breaches here if I was to get in. Number 1, we're trading below VWAP on GELS. Number 2, we're well below the pre-market high. It's going to have to get above there for me to get involved. So that's my look there, Joseph, on GELS. Okay. Quickly, before we send it back to you, STAI is going. We just got the print there at 59s. Now I'm sitting here at 62. The high of the day, guys, is 81s. And this one's shown its propensity to squeeze already. It's done that before. It's up 75% on the day. So it's a good look right now. Let's see if it continues to run up, Joseph.
Hey, good stuff there, my guy. We'll trade for food. Tesla, yeah, that guy's funny. He's funny. Tesla, he's real funny, actually. Tesla's about to drop like a 1986 Mike Tyson opponent. Ooh. I think. What says you? Yeah, I mean, from a technical, pardon me? Yeah. From a technical perspective, let's see what we got going on. And I can see what you're looking at here on Tesla, guys, because we are starting to run into some support levels, and we've tested these highs multiple times, and we've had the inability to break and hold them, and now starting to trade towards the bottom of the range. Are we going to break lower? Possibly. But as of right now, we're not too negative on the session. Only down about 0.7% is Tesla. I think that volume in the rest of the market would have to capitulate in order for this thing to continue to move lower. Other than that, maybe today will just be a range inside day for Tesla. Unless that volume really steps in, we'll trade for food. I would not necessarily be looking to trade it short. I mentioned before, I'm not the biggest fan of shorting strong stocks. I mean, in this instance, we are weak on the session, and we are heading back towards the low of the day, or not the low of the day, the low of the range, but something I wouldn't look to be doing. But again, if it's in your playbook and you play the break of this 420 level that seems to be holding relatively strong, then sure enough, that volume is there. There might be a trade. So real Knobberts. I've seen, Neil, I know you've seen this one the other day as well too. Real Knobberts. In the chat, yeah. So why did you exit NVIDIA? I stepped away. The rest of the market was breaking down, started to come back towards my break even, so I just got out of the position. But we can always get back in it as well too, right? So that's what we did here. We are in it, we are back in it, and we are in Amazon as well. Holding those pre-market highs, as I mentioned, those levels that we marked out as a collective unit, now slightly bouncing off them. Let's see how deep this pullback can be. But first, let's see what Adair is up to.
This part of the show is brought to you by eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience that can help you analyze, strategize, and capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data can lead to instant trading. Know where the market's moving before others with lightning-fast data and charts to change the game. Customize and analyze markets faster, your way. Better backtesting and scanning can help you predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable real-time data gives you up-to-the-second market info from hundreds of global markets, and that's everything you need all at once. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now with eSignal. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Back to you.
Thank you for that.
Get it, Adara.
Get it, Adara. We needed a get it animation. We need a get it animation.
Yeah, I would be good with that.
Yeah, we get one. Top VOIP. Yeah, we were talking about TSSI earlier in the session, right at the beginning of it actually, because I was asking Sharif, I'm like, hey, are you familiar with TSSI? He said no. I'm like, okay, well, let me read the first couple sentences of what this company does. And then at that point, I think we were kind of sold, especially after that news report that Donald came out with $500 billion going into AI infrastructure. And they're going to be probably a sympathy play with that. So, yeah, really good look. I'm glad you guys are paying attention to that stuff. So, yeah.
See Donald yesterday at the news conference? He's like, 3 trillion. Yeah. 3 trillion.
I like how he does like the little... I like how he does.
Get it, Donald, get it.
I like how he does the little shoulder turn. He's like,
yeah.
You notice
he
that? Yeah, he's always like,
that's so funny.
The little shoulder turn.
Did you see Masayoshi's son, bro?
Yeah, he's like.
I'm not gonna do the accent because it's wildly racist, but the point is, it was like, look, I came in with 100 billion. You asked me for 200, and now I'm back with 500.
Yeah.
Like, he was very pleasing to Donald.
I mentioned we talked about Masayoshi before. He's the CEO of SoftBank. He invested in Alibaba Group as well too. So this guy's been around the block a couple times. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And now he's over here at the White House. So good on him. I didn't think, because he almost went bankrupt with Alibaba, didn't he? Or something along those lines. He had a different venture before.
It was, I think, WeWork.
Was it WeWork? Was he in WeWork? And I told you what happened with WeWork. I forget the CEO of the name. For those who don't remember, the former CEO of WeWork essentially was taking real estate out under the company name and then paying himself the rent and then leasing his real estate back to the company, and like an ultimate kind of borderline Ponzi scheme there. So which is absolutely hilarious. But I mean, that's that. I forget his name, to be honest with you. If those who in the chat will remember real quick. Who was the former CEO? I could also just type it into Copilot, but I want to see how smart, because smart people everybody is. Who was the former CEO of WeWork? And then that's it. First person, you're going to get a big thumbs up. Yeah.
Am I allowed to say it?
Yeah, you can say it. Yeah.
Adam Newman.
Is it Adam Newman? Yeah, there you go. All right, well, then you guys lost.
Yeah, he's got long hair.
The chat lost. Yeah, odd looking fellow there.
Yeah, he look, man, the whole point, bro, was to keep costs low. Let's get office space, make it portable. And then he started getting the most elite of office spaces, shooting his costs through the roof. I don't know why Masayoshi liked the look. He liked the look, and he lost a lot.
I mean, have you walked by some of the offices in the city?
You were telling me about it, man.
There's so many. Everything, man.
Yeah.
And I was reading a part of the article. They were like, it was the motto was work hard but play harder. Right, and sure enough, look what happened. Like they had, at some point they had kegs in some of the offices.
Did they actually?
Yeah, and then they had to limit the coworkers. It was like, all right, only a couple pints throughout the day.
What?
Yeah, I was reading all this stuff, which was absolutely insane.
Work.
Yeah, but there's one across the street from my place that we work building, and it looks fun. It's like a fun setting. There's no real desk. It's all like those foam sofas and everything like that. So
Good times, man.
Yeah.
Look, guys, we're involved right now in Santa. I'm looking for this one to break 55s. It's at 55s right now. That's where I'm waiting, at 55s. Where are we in? We're in at 39s. Let's see if this one crosses SANA, up 21%. It's got a high of the day of 66 pennies. Whatever, we're rejecting 55 right now. I don't know why all of a sudden the tape dropped off. And it's no longer printing. Let's go ahead and wait at 54s. There we go. We'll take that out, and then we'll move up the order into 59s. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. STAI as well, defending 35 pennies, the exact area where we got in. However, this one has a bit of a compression pattern now with higher lows and lower highs. If I have weapon in my head over here, I don't want to say the other one, but this one has more aggressive lower highs than it has higher lows. So that concerns me. So the push down is more aggressive than the push up. So I've moved up my stop from the previous area into this bottom area low, so it's going to have to defend 35 pennies. Otherwise, I'm not going to take any smoke on that one. Let's see what this one is doing over here. Come on, TNXP, bro. How long are we going to put in higher lows above VWAP and go unprinted at 30? It's ridiculous over here. TNXP's taken its sweet dang time to cross above that 30 penny area, and I've been waiting, and it looks like I'll continue to wait over here on TNXP. Guys, I'm still crazy, and I have I have a dip trade over here on BLBX at 405, and I don't know if I like this anymore. This looks awfully. Let me show you guys the 5-minute, and then you guys give me your opinion as to what kind of trade this is. Do you guys perceive this as a kind of a double top-ish area where we gonna get into that 75 or 70 penny area like we rejected last time on the closing print, and then drop back down? Or do you guys see this as a bull flag or a bull pennant, I should say, because we got a bit of a compression? Let me know what you guys think in the chat, because I don't want to be taking this off that $4 area, only have this plummet back into VWAP or at around 3 1/3. I don't know if that's the move. So I'd like to get your opinion on what you guys feel this bad boy is doing right now. I'm talking about BLBX. It's up big on the day, in case you didn't know, about 150% in Greensville right now, but bamboozling me in terms of a chart pattern. Unsure how to execute on this. I'd love to get some opinion from the chat there. So let's keep an eye out for anybody chiming in. All right, CJ says, love to see what WeWork owes in property taxes to every local, county, city, and state federal. Yeah, I bet you that probably came up a lot in bankruptcy proceedings. One of the last, from my previous knowledge, one of the last, creditors to be moved off the balance sheet, or the first in priority to be paid out of funds collected in a bankruptcy proceeding, is the government. All forms of government, obviously, municipal, state, in your guys' case, provincial and ours, and federal. So they're usually first in priorities. There's other people as well, like benefactors of a trust. They're usually ahead in priority. Employees will also be ahead in priority of other debtors for their wages. So it comes into priority setting or priority priority settings in a bankruptcy proceeding. I don't know. That changes between jurisdiction and jurisdiction. So not sure, whether or not they got their money. I'm talking about the local governments. Yeah. Here comes BLBX into that 410 level. Again, I'm just watching this one, Andre, as it comes into that level. It's been bouncing off 410. So that's interesting here. Not a level that I had earmarked, but there seems to be a buyer at 410. That's a few times it's done that now. So we'll see if this one continues to run. Go on. Get it, Joseph. What else we got? Medical Marinara. Sharif, I'm setting a sell limit at 448 and walking away from that. I like it. 448, I'm assuming you're talking about SANA, if I stand correct. Oh, no, you're talking about BLBX, aren't you? Here it comes into 4, Joseph. It just breached 4 very momentarily. But now the tape, look at the speed of the tape picking up. You can kind of tell involvement's really getting on this one. So we would have been filled right now, but I don't like this. It's going to breach 4. Here we go. Let's see what it does here. It's defending 4 for now, a little bit above, a little bit below. Yeah, it might defend. We'll see. Yeah, it looks like it might be holding 4 here. So, good luck. Good luck. Not involved in it, but good luck. BLBX is what I'm talking about, guys. A big mover on the day. It was about 150% last time I talked about it. Now down into 137.
Yeah, good stuff there. We have a great question in from Edwin P. But first, NVDA is starting to pick up the momentum here. You see that volume starting to step in as we go in for the high of day break. That's something picture perfect that I want to see. And I want to mention something on Tesla too, because we were just talking about it. And I was asked, would you short it? Are we going to break down here? And I said, just watch the volume by time profile. If you're going to break some key levels, you really want that volume to step in. And it did. So there you go. We are heading to the south side on Tesla. So hopefully, again, when I suggest something, I have to look at it from my perspective, right? So again, I don't want to mislead anybody in any wrong way, but here it is breaking down. But just pay attention to your key metrics, okay? And just try to stay from like an algorithmic standpoint. Literally no emotion. Whatever signals are displayed, just stay like that from a systematic standpoint, okay, guys? But Edwin P, are there any ways to make an educated guess that a stock will make a gap up tomorrow? Like yesterday, Oracle, Microsoft, ARM, NVIDIA gap up because of DJT investments? That's a great question, Edwin. And I think you honestly answered it yourself. I don't know of any parameters that you would have to use to determine, hey, this is going to gap up. You can keep an eye on earnings because classified, that's going to classify as a gap up the next day. But I think you answered your own question in your own sense. And that's a good point. With yesterday, Microsoft, and because of the DJT investment, sure enough, there are some key metrics. Now you can start collecting data. When you have these high-level catalysts starting to step in, then here you are. Okay, what happens to the underlying assets the next day? Okay, they gap up. Perfect. So there you go. There's one reason. That's one data point that you can collect. Okay, large investments into the underlying asset. The following day, we gap up. Now find another catalyst like earnings, solid earnings reports, strong forward guidance. Okay, the next day we gap up. Now do the inverse. You get a downgrade or there might be some negative sentiment along those underlying assets. Document what it is. Okay, you gap down. But sure enough, Edwin, I think you answered your own question, and it's a great question at that. So there you go. You can start collecting data on that front, and hopefully that works out for you. So
see this?
No, sir.
Your friend Elon.
Yeah.
Is talking to Rams boys about a possible pickup of TikTok.
Okay.
Elon Musk.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, Katina says, nice going, Ram.
Yeah, nice.
Elon Musk and Saudi Prince. Say that again, Ram. She made it happen, guys. She's taking credit for this. Get it, Ram.
She dialed the number.
Katina man's dropping the cash symbol. Yeah, she's currently dropping the cash there. So Elon Musk and Saudi Prince, TikTok reports Yahoo Finance here, a game-changing deal in the making. Saudi Al Walid King. Okay, which prince, bro? Okay. Talal Ibrahim Al Maiman. I can't say that last one there. Talal Ibrahim. That's easy.
If this guy, sorry to interrupt you. If this guy acquires TikTok, he owns the social media space.
You heard what the Orange Man had to say yesterday. He was asked point blank by a reporter, do you mind, would you be okay with Elon owning TikTok? He's like, yeah, if he wants to own it. And then he looked at Larry Ellison and said, yeah. And he looked at Larry Ellison and said the same thing. He's like, if he wants to own it.
Is that a false? Oh, bro, how'd you get the fake sneeze too? I'm telling you, something's going around, man.
You got me there.
The false sneeze, yeah.
There we go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so interesting. Lots of rumors right now, guys, floating around who can own TikTok. By the way, when we report this stuff, by no means are we vouching for the veracity of the headline. We're bringing you the headline. It's incumbent upon you to do your own due diligence. We're just going to mention it. We're not basically talking about the veracity, and we're not trying to say it's accurate or anything like that. I just want to make that very clear because lots of rumors float around, and yeah, it's incumbent upon us to make that very clear. So wanted to mention that. All right, guys, still involved in SANA. Question is, for how long, as it's coming back down again off that 355. VWAP is still at 338, and that's basically where I'm long. I'm actually long 1 penny above that. Same thing here with STAI. It's putting in lower highs. I don't like this trade anymore on STAI. This feels like it's going to flat bottom break. Let me tell you where my stop is right now on STAI because this one could be trouble. All right, so I've put it at 227. I think that's fair. I probably would move it up to 229 just because the level is at 235. That's what I perceive, okay? I see a whole bunch of support at 235. So I can give it 5 or 6 pennies and I'll put it at 229. So I'm going to move it up here on STAI. I think I just got printed on something and I'm not sure exactly what got printed there. So going to keep an eye out. Joseph, what do you got on your side, my man?
Yeah, we're sitting in this Amazon here. It's looking like we might just consolidate before we take another leg down. So maybe a tough reversal look on that front, but let's take a look at NVDA. I mentioned before it's going to be a little bit of a slow grind, a nice slow cook here on NVDA, but we are now above those highs of days, continuing to appreciate just under 5% on the session. I think we continue to move here. Dipish asked if I think the momentum in NVIDIA is going to continue through the end of the week. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much for this thing to get moving. And one thing I also want to point out from a daily perspective here is look how long this consolidation phase is on NVDA. Oh, here we go. Right? So we're in this since November. So a couple months of consolidation. This can be classified as a nice accumulation phase, and then maybe we start to distribute higher and higher and higher. So that's a good look. That's my look on NVDA. I do think that this thing continues to climb higher. I know a lot of analysts have a $200 price tag on this thing. I couldn't agree more, especially at the rate of the earnings growth. I mean, it's starting to slow down now. We know what it was like a couple years ago, but the demand for Blackwell and all these NVDA chips and infrastructure is extremely high. So you got to be bullish on this thing. It's the king of what it does, especially with this AI arms race. I think NVDA is going to be one of the primary beneficiaries of it for sure.
The Dallas Cowboys are getting a little bit closer to possibly hiring a new head coach. Reports
Dion. Dion. No?
Prime? Yeah, he's in college right now. But yeah, that would have been sick.
Yeah.
So reports Cowboys to meet offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer again. So second interview for the head coaching job. We all know Brian Schottenheimer. His dad, Marty Schottenheimer, obviously one of the OGs of football, a long time.
Bro, what do you mean we all know Marty Schottenheimer? I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm just making everyone feel bad. Like, you don't know
I
Marty
have no
Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I have no idea. He's like, I have no idea who this guy is. Offensive coordinator for
Look,
who?
he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brian Schottenheimer, he's an offensive coordinator. I don't think he's had a head coaching job. Neil, has Brian Schottenheimer been a head coach in the NFL before, or is just OC? He doesn't think so. I agree. I don't think I've seen Brian Schottenheimer as a head coach. Obviously, his dad, though, a head coach. Shout out to you, Jay Lee. You called it, Jay. You said, why not get out of STAI here? I just got stopped out for the remaining amount. I said to Jay, because it's holding VWAP, your point was well taken. I told you had a good point, Jay. So we got stopped out for the remaining amount there on STI. Still positive, though. Did decent on this one. But yeah, to build on your point, to go back to my previous point there, it looks like the Cowboys are planning to conduct a second interview. Hasn't happened yet with Brian Schottenheimer. The NFL, Ian Rappaport, obviously reporting that. The follow-up interview will take place after the two sides met for nearly 2 hours on Tuesday. Okay, good look there. Anybody but McCarthy, baby. He's 51 years old. Oh, wow, I didn't know he was actually that old. He's been a part of the Cowboys staff for the past 3 seasons, serving as the OC, offensive coordinator since 2023. We're going to shout him out. Hope, if he's the right man for the job, that he gets hired. Otherwise, keep looking, because we definitely need a bit of a better season. Man, can you believe this? The worst, well, I don't want to say the worst, one of the worst NFC conferences, the East, has 2 teams in the championship, and the best conference, the North, eliminated. They're completely all 3 of them gone.
I know. That's just how football works. And it's funny that I was just thinking about that. So in 2013, when I was in school in Guelph, I used to be a hardcore Ravens fan. Hardcore. I had my Terrell Suggs, my Ray Lewis, my Ed Reed jerseys.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. He won us the bowl that year. And R.I.P. Jacoby Jones. So I can't keep it in touch in here. So that year in school it went from absolute euphoria with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl to absolute utter heartbreak with the Leafs losing in 7 to Boston.
Oh, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Was that 4-1 or 5-1 in the third?
Yeah, it was 4-1 going into the third. And I remember, me and my roommates, we ordered Chinese food, and the Leafs scored. And the delivery guy was hearing us cheer, and he just ran into the house. And he just came and he dropped the food off and he started cheering with us. I'll never forget that. We're like, who is this guy? And then he's like, I have the food. I heard you cheering. I want to watch the game too.
I'm not any less. No, man. I was on the other side of that. I'm obviously not a 49ers fan because of the history with the Cowboys, but I like Colin Kaepernick at the time.
That's who they lost.
And that's who he was. That's who was in the Super Bowl for them. So I was cheering for the 49ers in that Super Bowl. But
wow.
Remember, that's the one the lights went out.
The lights went out. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, this is so rigged. And it was the Harbaugh brothers against each other, right? From the coaching
That was the Harbaugh Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right,
it was,
man.
Yeah, so.
Shout out to the Big Spiled, won $1.99 Super Chat. The worst NFC beast. Go, go Commanders, go Commies, he calls them. Yeah, look, I don't know if I'm going to cheer for either of those teams, but I will be watching, obviously, the championship. I think the better championship, though, to be completely honest with you, is on the AFC side this year with Neil's boys going against Joseph's boys over here, so that should be super interesting. Sorry, not Joseph's boys. I already beat Joseph's boys. What am I saying? We're going against the Chiefs. I won't be cheering for the Chiefs, so I will be a Bills fan this year, no question about it. I think Adara probably will be a Bills fan too. I don't put words in her mouth. She said yes, because she doesn't want to see anything to do with Taylor Swift. She doesn't want to see her on camera. I don't want to see her in the box. I don't want to see anything to do with Taylor Swift, but I'm sure we will get many.
You would buy the
Taylor
stock.
Swift,
You would buy the stock, though. You would buy Taylor Swift stock.
I'd buy the Taylor Swift coin.
Coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. So let us.
As long as there was some dividends in there or something, Joseph, you gotta sweeten the deal, man.
You gotta sweeten the deal a little bit.
You gotta sweeten the deal a little bit.
An autographed album.
No, I'm looking for recurring revenue on that bad boy,
yeah,
bro.
hey, man, maybe
I
it's a
want
vintage
profits.
one. Autographed, I'm sure you could sell for a
That's
hefty
true.
penny, right?
That's true.
There you
That's
go.
a one-off, though. Scott Angel yelling, Bills will trade for food. Go Bills. Barkley, best pickup in NFL history, says TS Booger. Okay, that's all right. Prioritize Daniel Jones over Saquon, says CJ. Yeah, that's actually interesting there. I'm not really a Daniel Jones fan of any sort, nor am I a Saquon Barkley fan because, well, he plays for the enemy. Both teams were the enemy. So that's, what time are we at? Only 2 more minutes, man. All right, let's go over the trades we have left here. We're still holding SANA, Joseph. I'm waiting here in the high 50s for the print. This one did very well to defend the volume-weighted average price. I saw people yelling in the chat, short SANA, and I don't really understand why, because it's still above VWAP, but maybe not everybody uses my system of shorting below VWAP and going long above. We're also still involved here in, what is this one called? TNXP. We're long at 29s. It's printing 30s. I'm waiting at 30.5, 31.5 in increments there, but we are going unprinted on this one. But what's keeping me involved in TNXP is it's above VWAP. It's putting in higher lows. I'd like to see a flat top break through 30. We've obviously had a lot of trouble with 30 on the day. We'll have to see if that ends up going up. The skips 8. It's known that whatever team Sharif cheers for isn't going to win. It feels that way a lot of the times, my man. Shout out to you. I mean, I hope that changes one day. Arsenal's not doing that well this year. Cowboys aren't doing that well this year. I guess I'm just jinxed. I'm the curse. So maybe I should start cheering for all my enemies.
Enemies, maybe.
Right? Maybe that'll change everything, right?
Yeah, it's like something like they say in trading. If your system isn't working, just turn your screen upside down.
There you go.
And there you go. So.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts to leave?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave the boys with a hot take here over at the big desk. The Baltimore Ravens are the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NFL. I told you it's gonna be a hot take.
Neil's like,
what? They just can't get it done, man. They just can't get it done.
Well, at least they didn't have to wait till 60 now. Or it's
Yeah,
not as
they
long,
haven't lost. I mean, they won last time was in 13. So
the Ravens are the former Browns, right? Before the current Browns. So I think the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore, right?
No, it was like
No, I'm pretty sure it was the Browns.
it was the Baltimore Colts. Yeah, it was the Baltimore Colts.
Hold on. It wasn't the Cleveland Browns moving to the...
No, it was the Baltimore. It was the
We're going to
Baltimore.
have to do this before we send it off to the big boy show.
Yeah.
We got to wait. So hold on. Let's go Baltimore.
Yeah.
It
was the Baltimore Colts.
Ravens. Let's go to their wiki, find out what the situation is, Joseph. I wonder if they have any Colts. Yes, after the controversial relocation of the Colts.
Look, I got Neil going now on the hot take there with Baltimore and the Leafs.
All right, here. The Baltimore Ravens were established in 1996 after Art Mondell, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, announced plans in 95 to relocate the franchise from Cleveland to Baltimore. So I think that they may have been the Colts team before that, but the more recent move was the Browns from 96. I remember that because then Cleveland didn't have a team, and then they got a new team with the Browns. In any event, we digress. The big kahunas are waiting. Their names are already on the board. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Get it, big boys.
Brady Quinn. Remember that guy?
You're like,
Brady Quinn.
What are you trying to say about Brady Quinn?
No, like, first of all, Brady Quinn. Isn't Brady
Anyone makes
Quinn
$1 million.
Come on, didn't Brady Quinn marry one of the one of those famous U.S. gymnasts that won the gold medal? Like,